more than a decade and a half, he has been the face of the franchise. For the last 5 years, it's captain. But today, David Wright is just a guy coming to a job he loves one final time. A chance to renew acquaintances with old friends and teammates and get ready to put on the uniform and play the game he loves.
You know, you just can't help but to think about how this started.
3-1 to Wright, pulled on the ground over the third base bag. That's a fair ball down the line. His first big league hit is an extra base hit.
It wasn't long at all before he was a star.
Swinging a high fly ball deep left center field, and it's out of here. David Wright with his first major league home run.
One of the most important players the Mets have ever had.
Swinging a high fly ball, well hit to left field. There it goes, home run! David Wright has hit his first World Series home run.
There was never a day that he wasn't the best thing this franchise ever produced on the field as an everyday player.
He's been the cornerstone.
The leader of this team, the spokesman for this team, the role model for this team.
And the fourth captain in the history of the New York Mets.
I cannot express my gratitude and appreciation for everything that this organization has done. I truly bleed orange and blue. This is my extended family. It's truly been an honor of a lifetime to take the field with you and serve as your captain. I love the game. I truly do. So needless to say, Saturday, September 29th is extremely important to me. I'm just very appreciative of being able to run out there again. And, you know, it's going to be emotional for me, but at the same time, I'm accomplishing the goal for me, and that was to, you know, make it back out there and, you know, put that uniform on.
It's already been a long day of snapshots and emotions for David Wright, with fans and family living and breathing with every moment. He said he was going to make sure that he took everything in that happened here tonight, because while he's been playing, he's neglected to do that. Tonight, David is absorbing every moment and making sure it's a memory of a lifetime. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight. A very special night, and we're pleased to be bringing you this game both on SNY and on our over-the-air partner, Pix 11. You know, most Major League Baseball players don't get to write their final script, much less players who have not played a full baseball game in 2.5 years. But David Wright is such an iconic piece of the Mets family that he gets to write that script here tonight.
Well, this is a terrific night. You can hear the roar behind me here. It's hard to hear Gary in the booth. This is just a terrific night for David, as you see him right there. And as Gary said, this is a guy that deserves this. I think the organization owes him a debt of gratitude for everything he has stood for in this organization, both on and off the field, Gary.
And as Mickey Callaway, his manager, who has never sent him out into the field as a big league manager, so eloquently put it tonight, it's not about the numbers. It's about who David is and what he has represented to this organization.
I agree 100%. His numbers speak for itself, but what he did for the community on and off the field is just exemplary. He's an extraordinary individual, and he is so deserving of this evening tonight. A full house, the fans here showing their love.
And they are roaring at every mention of his name and every sight of David Wright on the field, and those moments will continue. David's got his family here, and he's got his old buddy next to him on the infield. All the action is coming your way next. A full house at Citi Field, and I can think of few nights in this ballpark that have had more meaning. We had full houses for postseason games in 2015 and 2016, but this is special. This is 40,000 people coming together to express their love for one incredibly special, iconic player. And his smile has not left his face since his pinch hit at bat last night. And the smiles And the emotion and the moment just keeps growing.
Well, it almost has a feeling of opening day of a new season, and here we are. It's really the final curtain for David here, and there he is right there. You can tell he's excited. Can't wait to get out there. I can't wait to see him take the field.
That's his daughter Olivia, 2 years old, watching her daddy play. She got to see him for one pitch last night. You'll see much more tonight. His other daughter Madison, who's just a baby, is here as well with his wife Molly. And one of David's expressed interest in coming back and playing this one game after all the work he has done to try and rebound from 2.5 years of back problems and neck problems and shoulder problems was that neither of his daughters had ever seen him play in a major league game. They hadn't been alive the last time that he played in May of 2016. Well, they're here today, and their daddy's about to take the field. And while it'll make his daughters and his wife and the rest of his family overjoyed to see him, it will also be a great moment for millions of Met fans, 40,000 of whom have been able to cram their way into this ballpark tonight.
It is just an extraordinary sight here. I must say that, Gary, I've been nervous on opens before, but I really felt the import of this particular game and this particular open that I really wanted to say something that expressed my feelings for David, and I hope it came across genuinely and just from my heart. This is just an end of a wonderful career.
It's both a beginning and an ending all in one day. It's really an extraordinary thing. I can't think of an equal example in any sport where a player of such great note had spent so much time away and gets to come back for one curtain call such as we're about to see tonight.
Your attention to the field for a very special first pitch. Please welcome David's parents, Ron and Elisa Wright, and his wife Molly, as well as their daughters Olivia and Madison. Catching tonight's pitch is Olivia's father and our captain, David Wright. Olivia, it's your pitch.
So much in those moments. David said he wanted to take the field and kick third base, as he always has. Next man out on the field was his longtime teammate Jose Reyes. They've started more games together than any duo in Mets history. They shared a hug. David catching a first pitch from his 2-year-old daughter Olivia. And it is extraordinary.
It is, and how proud. There she is right there. What a beauty.
This crowd has cheered every moment from the time that David first came out for batting practice today. They cheered every swing in batting practice. They cheered every sprint, every wave, every hug. He signed autographs for fans for a good half hour or 45 minutes after batting practice. And from the time he emerged from the dugout again, the crowd has been in a frenzy for this one incredibly emotive glimpse at their captain for one very special night.
Well, this will be his final act here, his final start. A glorious career. And you can see the crowd. It is on its feet. They are all stoked up for their captain.
And clearly he is enjoying every moment of this. Think about the work that went into him just being able to do this. And he knows that his body has betrayed him to a point where it's impossible for him to continue as a regular player in the major leagues. But think of the hours and days and weeks and months of rehab and surgery and frustration that have gone into this moment. And you can understand why David is so full of smiles for his return tonight.
And I just think it just shows the character of David, how everybody feels. The umpires, the visiting players all came up to David prior to the game, before the game, and expressed all their congratulations and goodbyes.
Steven Matz on the mound. Miguel Rojas at the plate. The first pitch is up and away for ball one. Rojas coming off a 4-hit game last night, and he fouls one off, 1-1. Marlins lineup brought to you by Kia. Visit kia.com to learn more. The Marlins put up 8 runs and 13 hits last night. They'll send an all right-hand hitting lineup against Steven Matz tonight, making his final start of the year.
And there's Steven Matz's numbers for the year. 30th start, which is a good sign that he pitched pretty much pain-free. I think he only missed 2 starts all year. Came on strong in the end like everybody else.
2-2 to Rojas. Well, Matz over his last 6 starts, a 2.70 ERA. We talked about this last night, though, and this is fascinating for David's final game. You've got Matz, a guy who likes to pitch inside against right-hand batters, and thus tendency is to get a lot of ground balls to third base. So David might get some action down there. 2-2 coming, and Rojas fouls it away. Brian Anderson on deck, and then Starlin Castro for Miami. Coming. Bouncer toward the middle. Reyes to his left, and he snags it but has no play. And Rojas has an infield hit.
Jeez, Rojas just had a big night last night. Had a 4 for 6 last night and starts this night out in the right track. And the starting infield for the Mets, brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers. And really there's no one to talk about but those 2 guys on the left side of the infield. This will be their 895th game together that they've played. Their 860th with Reyes at short and David at third base.
First time they have played and started the game together since the last day of the 2011 season. Brian Anderson takes outside ball 1. Remember, that was the day that Reyes clinched the batting title with a bunt hit, left the field, and that was the last time these 2 have shared that left side of the infield, and it is incredibly special for both of them tonight. There is such an affinity. They're like peas and carrots. Foul back, and it's 1-1 to Anderson. Themes of the game brought to you by Raymore and Flanagan, furnishing your style.
Well, it's all about David Wright. All the records, the franchise records that he holds offensively, the teammates together. 14 years, 70 days ago. Hard to believe.
That day, Reyes played second base.
Yep.
It was Kaz Matsui next to Wright playing shortstop. Steven Matz grew up on Long Island and understands exactly what David Wright means to this franchise, and so it probably is appropriate that Steven gets the start tonight.
Gets the pitch in front of a full house on a very special evening. Historic evening in Met history.
1-2 to Anderson, and it's up and in. Anderson had 2 hits, was on base 4 times last night, and finishing up a terrific rookie season.
Matz has given up 25 home runs on the season, 23 to right-handers.
2-2, and he struck him out with a curveball for the first down of the night.
Curveball. Good down break, down and in, right to the glove. And Brian Anderson, a tough out, is completely fooled out in front on that breaking ball.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now starting Castro. Castro 1 for 5 last night. Matz misses upstairs for ball 1. Stevens' last start Sunday in Washington didn't go very well. 3 runs in 3 innings. He walked 3 batters. Was taken out after 78 struggling pitches. See in the background there, David's family taking their seats behind home plate, settling in.
2 beautiful girls. Well, they're going to have the video for the little one to have a remembrance.
Hit sharply. Reyes on the backhand. Nice play. Gets the force. McNeil the turn. Not in time. Jose Reyes taking one out of the archives. 2 out.
Well, there's no doubt that the Mets are going to be fired up for this game, and Jose in particular here. Left of your screen. Great backhand. And they might have had 2 if the throw didn't take Jay Bruce off the base. Nice play by Jose. Oh, this is so special.
Here's Peter O'Brien with 2 out and a runner at first. O'Brien hit a home run against Matz the last time these 2 teams got together. O'Brien's had a nice September run. Mets put a full shift on against him, and he gets tied up and fouls it off on the slider. 1-1.
He got a couple hits last night, hit a couple balls hard. RBI double as well as a single. Looks a little, he's a catcher, former catcher, and looks a little bit challenged at first base, but swings a good bat.
Two-1 from Matz, and O'Brien takes it outside. Statcast AI powered by Amazon Web Services. You see the full shift against O'Brien with Wright hugging the line at third. Players always say they want the ball hit to him. You think David wants the ball hit to him?
I think so.
I mean, that might really help eliminate some trepidation, some butterflies.
I think he wants a ball definitely hit at him. I'm not so sure he wants one where he has to dive.
I'm not sure diving's in the playbook right now. We'll see. 3-2. Castro will run, and O'Brien takes high ball 4, and the Marlins have 2 men on. Let me ask you this, Keith, from a perspective of the Marlins. They walk into this setting. They're in last place. The Mets are in next to last place. They're postseason hopes have long been over, and you've got this incredibly electric house. How do you react as the opposition?
Well, you're playing down in Miami in front of poor crowds almost all year, and to be able to come to a full house and play, and in a game of this significance, that they've got to be ready to go.
Here's Lewis Brinson, and he takes a strike. I mean, you know the Mets are pumped up. I mean, everybody wants to be on point tonight for David's big night, but I guess it's true on the other side too.
It absolutely is. I had the good fortune. I think Pete Rose, with either Cincinnati or was it Philadelphia, I think broke a hit record when we were playing them, and I was on first base. It was a full house, and I have that photograph. So it was a special moment for me.
Missing consistently high with his fastball, and it's 2-1. It might be him being a little overpumped.
Yes, this has an opening day flavor to it, and really it's the sunset of the season.
Brinson swings through the fastball, and it's 2-2.
Upstairs fastball.
Two out, 2 on, 2-2 to Brinson. Struck him out. Mets finishes off the Marlins in the top of the first. David Wright bats third for the Mets when they come up in the bottom of the first. Lifetime of snapshots for the Mets captain. Taking some practice swings already. He said last night when he came into the on-deck circle in the 4th inning when he didn't get to bat that it was the first time in his career he thought he might get sick in the on-deck circle. He was so nervous.
It's like a rookie. You're in your first at bat. Who would have thought it?
Jose Reyes gets to lead off for just the 2nd time this year, facing the rookie right-hander Trevor Richards.
There's Trevor Richards, the rookie. Those are 4-9 on the year. A little bit too many walks.
Reyes pops one foul, and that'll go out of play. We saw Richards a couple of weeks ago when the Marlins were here. Loves to throw his changeup, and he's got a good one. But he gave up 6 runs in 5 innings against the Mets in that first go-round. The only other time Reyes led off this year was back on May 3rd against the Braves. And he was beaming when Mickey Callaway told him that he would lead off tonight. I mean, think about that piece, right? That he's always thought of himself as a leadoff hitter, and this might be the last time he gets to do that as a Met. And he yanks one down the right field line. Reyes has himself an extra base hit. Diving in with a leadoff double.
Look at the smile on his face, and a tough year for Jose, and you know that he wants to perform well on this last night together with David. And boy, oh boy, hits a bullet down the right field line. And with Reyes' speed, you start immediately thinking about a triple. But it was cut off by Galloway.
12th double of the year for Reyes. So he's at second with nobody out. Now Jeff McNeil on the corners pinch in, thinking McNeil might be bunting. That would be hard to believe. McNeil 1 for 4 last night. But he is bunting, and he drops one down in front of the third baseman Anderson, and the sacrifice successful, and that will give David Wright an RBI opportunity.
surprise that Mr. Mattingly, Don Mattingly, brings the infield in the first inning.
Borderline strike. And that has 40,000 umpires objecting. Last night, David swung at the only pitch he saw. Got a fastball and hit a one-hopper to third. Taking a little bit of time and seeing the few offerings here before he swings the bat. Reyes at third and one out. Changeup misses, 2-1. He pops one foul. That'll go out of play. 2-2. David's last hit, May 27, 2016. He had a home run against Chris Hatcher of the Dodgers. Two from Richards. And the changeup just missed. Full count.
Good eye, David.
And he walked him. And David Wright is aboard. I mean, there's got to be such great temptation on his part to unleash and make something special happen. I can't imagine the patience it took to put together that turned bat.
I was taken about how that at bat, how he had that at bat, like he has not missed a game for 16 years.
You don't suppose he's going to try and steal a base, do you?
Oh, I don't think so.
Here's Michael Conforto, first and third and one out. And he hits one back to Richards, out at second. Rojas to first in time for the double play. And that ends the inning. 1-6-3 double play. Wright slid without incident and comes up smiling. David draws a walk in his first plate appearance. No score. Very special night in New York. Mayor de Blasio declared a David Wright Day in New York.
Very
fitting
nice.
tribute.
Nice.
So David's been through his first inning in the field, his first plate appearance, his first slide.
He's got his uniform dirty.
Austin Dean leads off in the second against Steven Matz, who had to throw 25 pitches to get through that opening inning. Dean had a couple of hits last night. The proclamation for the mayor, number 5, holds many different meanings for our residents. It's the number of boroughs, the train that takes us from Bronx to Brooklyn. It's also the number designated for third base and for the guy who is the iconic figure for the Mets at that position. Ground ball, Reyes will take it. And a low throw, he gets Dean. One away. David thought about trying to cut that off. Very nice note from the Yankees organization to congratulate David Wright.
Yes, sir. That was a picked up the paper and saw that. Very classy.
One out and nobody on. Now Isaac Galloway, who homered against Matz the last time the Mets faced the Marlins. Galloway spent 11 years in the minor leagues, getting his 12th start in the big leagues. Ball and a strike. And he hits another one right to Reyes. And Jose taking care of business, 2 out.
Jose's had a busy night so far.
A double, 3 assists in the field, including a sparkling play in the first inning. It may not mean quite as much to Jose as it does to David, but this is a very special night for him too.
Absolutely.
I mean, he loved playing with David. Of course, Reyes got to the big leagues first in 2003, a day before his 20th birthday. Wright joined the party a year later at age 21.
You know, even though these two haven't played together in a long time and been in this shortstop, third base position together, it feels like an end of an era of Met baseball, another end of another sparkling era.
Well, they won a division title together in 2006. Holiday flies one down the right field side, and that'll go out of play. And that was memorable. If you remember when they clinched that division, and they ran away with the division that year in 06, but that celebration was over the top for a division championship, and it was for several reasons. One, because the Mets had had a fallow period of half dozen years after the 2000 World Series, but also because you had these 2 young stars who bonded and were such a big piece of that. And it was their first chance to celebrate together, and what they thought would be the first of many. As it turned out, it was the only time. By the time the Mets got back to the postseason 9 years later, Reyes was gone. And then by 2016, David was hurt. Taken high by Holiday, and it's 2-2. So you never know what baseball is going to bring you, right? You thought that was going to be the beginning of an era, but it turned out, at least for those two, to be their high point together. And a first chance for Wright. And he throws out Holiday. David Wright getting ready for the game tonight, filling ticket requests. A night that's already been filled with emotional moments that none of us will ever forget. Least of all that man and his family. That's lineup brought to you by the New York Lottery. Reyes first, Wright third. How many times has that been the configuration? Since 2004. Jay Bruce leads off in the Mets in the home second and strokes 1 foul. Bruce threw a couple of walks last night, otherwise 0 for 2, but he's been finishing strong, 18 RBIs in his last 20 games. Facing the rookie right-hander Trevor Richards. Who misses inside with the fastball, 1-1. I was thinking when you were talking in the last half inning, Keith, about Reyes and Wright and it being the end of an era, and I was trying to think of comparable situations, and it's not even close to comparable, but it was it felt a little bit the same. Your last home game at Shea Stadium in 1989, you and Gary Carter, I think we all knew that both of you were moving on after that year. And neither one of you started. Jay Bruce strikes out for the first out. But you were both put in late in the game and got tremendous ovations from the crowd that knew that this was going to be the last chance to see you.
We both pinch hit. I was so full of emotion. The crowd was standing up, and I really had no focus in that at bat. I got up to the plate, and I just wanted to get it over as fast as possible, and I hit a weak fly ball to left field. Gary got a line drive base hit over the shortstop's head, I believe.
I think he doubled. I think it was a double in the left field corner, if I recall correctly.
So that was, and as I rounded first base and had to trot back to the dugout, it was a moment I'll never forget. The standing ovation, and it was a special moment for me in my career. really was probably the end of my career. I went on to Cleveland, of course, but really I feel like it ended here in New York.
Well, I remember the love in the stadium that day, and it wasn't quite a full house the way it is tonight, but there was so much that people wanted to express to you and to Gary about what you had done for this franchise, taking them out of the dark ages and brought them into the promised land. You kind of felt it in the ballpark that night.
Yes, and it was much appreciated because it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and Gary, of course, and myself, we put our all out there, like David, and it's great to be. It's great that it's noticed and recognized and applauded.
Brandon Nimmo gets caught looking at a changeup, and Richards has back-to-back strikeouts to start the bottom of the second.
And the Marlins defense brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Brian Anderson up for a chance, or Rookie of the Year outside chance at third base. In the outfield, bunch of youngsters right there. Brinson, of course, is one of the guys they traded for in the offseason. They have high hopes for him in center field.
Here's Austin Jackson with 2 out. Meanwhile, there are important games being played elsewhere. This afternoon, the Cardinals stayed alive by beating the Cubs 2-1 behind Miles Michaelis, but the Cardinals are alive no more because the Dodgers just beat the Giants 10-6, and that eliminates St. Louis from wild card consideration. So it's down to the Rockies and the Dodgers to see who will win the West and who will get the second wild card.
So the Colorado Rockies, even though they're in, they both had them and the Dodgers have something to play for down to the end.
So the Rockies by winning, the Dodgers by winning are now a half game behind the Rockies, and of course that Central Division is still up for grabs too, with the Cubs losing to the Cardinals this afternoon. Milwaukee can tie for the division lead with a win tonight, but of course, as is the case in the West, both those teams will be in either way. But you could have a situation in both the West or the Central or both where you'll need tiebreakers to determine on Monday to determine which team wins the division and which team gets the wild card.
That would be interesting.
2-2 to Jackson, and he lifts one foul. I don't think we've ever had that situation since this new format has been in place, where I mean, it used to be with the one wild card that winning the wild card and winning the division really was all the same.
Right.
But since there's now this incentive to win the division, we haven't had a tiebreaker game to determine who gets which, where both teams were guaranteed a spot. Bounce down toward third, goes through for a base hit. Jackson finds the hole, and the Mets have their second hit of the night.
I am going to keep a very, very tidy scorecard tonight for this historic game.
Now Kevin Plawecki, who went 0 for 2 last night. So David standing on the bench there applauding Jackson's base hit. Takes me back to last night when Plawecki made the third out in the fourth inning when David was on deck, and he was saying about how nervous he was as Plawecki throws one foul, and he said, I was almost happy that Plawecki made a bad out and made an out so that I'd have another inning to wait, and then he quickly said, I don't want to seem like a bad teammate.
Right.
Because he's always been the consummate teammate. He would never be the guy who said, well, I hope that guy makes it out to make it better for me. You know what I mean?
I understand completely, and it's almost like, you know, you want to get it over with, I would think, but that, you know, there was just had to be so nerve-wracking for him in that on-deck circle.
I think having that extra inning to get prepared probably helped him in the long run. At least he felt that way. Plawecki pulls one down to third. Anderson positioned perfectly, and he'll go across the diamond to get the out, and that retires the side. David Wright on his night, making sure to soak in every moment, and so is every fan. I think that puts David's career in perspective a bit. For all the time he's missed the last 2.5 years, he still has played more games at third base than anybody else to play for a New York baseball team, past or present. 7-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slugger winner, 30-30 club. Most hits in Mets history, most RBIs in Mets history, second to Darryl Strawberry on the Mets all-time home run list. 1-2 to Trevor Richards, who's 2 for 29 at the plate in his rookie season. And Matt strikes him out on 3 pitches. Third strikeout of the night for Steven, and 1 out in the third.
Yeah, it looks like Richards doesn't like the breaking ball.
So David Wright is due up 4th in the bottom of the third. The general plan for tonight was for David to take 2 at bats and then go out the field the next inning and then come out of the game. But Mickey Callaway said that plan could be flexible depending on how quickly those first 2 at bats come. So if he gets 2 plate appearances in the first 3 innings, maybe they'll let him stick around for a third. So we'll just have to wait and see. But what we do know is that once David comes out of the game, he's coming up in uniform to the booth to sit with us for a half inning, which I think is going to be spectacular. I have never had that experience before. A player in uniform coming up into the booth. Right Stuff brought to you by the New York Lottery, and there are some of the records that David holds. Basically all of them except for the home run mark, where he's 10 behind. Miguel Rojas bounces one foul.
Well, he came up in 2004 mid-season and tore up the league, and first 5 years hit over 300.
You know, there are a lot of things that get lost along the way. To me, what stands out, and maybe it's somewhat off the beaten path, you know, the Mets had that great season in 2006. It didn't end the way people wanted it to, but the regular season was just spectacular, and the Mets had such a powerhouse team that year. Chance for McNeil, and he throws out Rojas. And then, of course, they let potential postseason berths slip away in 07 and 08 in just spectacular fashion in 07, and then again on the last day in 08. But in both of those years, David Wright was by far the Mets' best player down the stretch. In 07, in September, he hit 352. In 08, in September, he hit 340. He did everything he possibly could to will the Mets to the end. They didn't quite get there, but he was still front and center, even though the result team-wise was not what anybody had hoped.
Well, the result team-wise was just a nightmare. What happened, particularly the first time round. But you know, David was Mr. Clutch.
The other thing that people, I think, don't remember, I haven't seen anybody write about this in all the retrospectives about David this week, was him getting hit in the head by Matt Cain in this ballpark in 2009.
It was August of 2009 when he got hit in the head, and he got hit right squarely on the helmet.
And you know, it took him a little while to rebound from that. He came back that year, but it was not easy.
Well, he came back in 2010 after that, Gary, and that would have been his first year where he didn't hit 300. It was the 6th season, but he did drive in 103 runs that year and hit 29 home runs.
And then, of course, in 2011 was the first major injury when he suffered a fractured back, trying to make a diving tag on Carlos Lee, a fracture that was undiagnosed for a long period of time, and he kept on playing. Anderson goes down looking. That ends the top of the third. Wright is due up 4th when the Mets come up in the bottom. No score. Well, this was that initial back injury that David suffered in 2011, making that diving tag on Carlos Lee. Hit the ground hard and suffered a fracture in his lower back. He continued to play for, I think it was about a month that he played.
22 games to be exact, Gary. He continued to play after the injury.
And then it was finally diagnosed, and he missed about 2 months. Steven Matz leads off. Now, we never got a clarification from Elias, and talking about Matz coming to bat here. He homered in back-to-back starts, and then in his last start in Washington, he did not have an official at bat. So if he hits a home run tonight, will he have a 3-game home run streak? He will, right? Because if it was a hitting streak and you sacrificed in your only at bat, your hitting streak would continue.
I don't have the answer to that.
Check with Bob Waterman. Hit one deep, Mats, and we'll know. We'll all find out together. He pulls one foul. He swung the bat better in this last month than he has in quite some time.
I think it probably has to do with him pitching better too. You know, when you're struggling on the mound, he went through a tough patch. Your focus has got to be getting out of that pitching slump. And the at-bats become secondary.
And he goes down swinging for the first out. 3rd strikeout for Richards. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company. Now Reyes, who drilled a double down the right field line in the first inning, got to 3rd but was stranded there. Since David Wright last played 3rd base, the Mets have used 16 different players at 3rd. And Jose Reyes has started more games at that position than any of them. Reyes, then Wilmer Flores, then Todd Frazier, and 13 other guys. Fly ball out to left center. And Dean puts it away, 2 out. And I believe the plan is that when David comes out of this game, that Reyes will move over to play 3rd and finish out the game there.
Rosario to short.
Yeah. Well, it's up to Jeff McNeil to see whether Wright gets an at bat here in the 3rd or has to wait until the 4th. McNeil laid down a first inning sacrifice bunt. I wonder whether that was just designed to get the runner to 3rd so David would have an RBI chance.
Yeah, I think it was. And also, as I mentioned, I was shocked that Don Mattingly wouldn't have just played the infield back. He brought it in. McNeil kind of going through his first little tough patch. He gets his hits, but he's been hitting the ball in the air a little bit of late. You know, it's impossible to have a season where you don't have a slump.
Change up low and a ball and a strike. Watching Wright in the on-deck circle and thinking that things look a little more normal for him now. Almost like he's, you know, he went through it last night. He went through his first plate appearance today. Now he just looks like David Wright on deck. No more nerves. And McNeil pops one up, shallow center. Brinson coming on. And David will have to wait till the 4th for his 2nd plate appearance. Mets go 1-2-3 in the 3rd. Still no score.
I know the player in him. I know the person. And the person is way better than the player. I remember his voicemail was like, "Hey, this is David Wright." I go, "What are you running for president of the United States? What the hell is this?" Right? And and you know what? Next week he changed it. But not that I was just made fun of him. But just, you have to keep these guys from thinking. I think that was the one thing that I saw from him. He knew he was on the big stage. Right, New York, everybody was waiting for the top prospect. Terrible BP, couldn't hit the ball. I said, your BP stinks. Like, what in the world is that? I mean, what did we just watch at 5 o'clock? He was like, wait till 7. Okay, I like it. You have to have that.
Cliff was very important in David's career. David spent the first year in the big leagues carrying Cliff's bag. And that may sound like a little thing, but David, for being the big time prospect that he was so deferential when he first came up in the old fashioned way that rookies used to be.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen to me when I came up in '74. I mean, you were just ignored by that veteran bunch in St. Louis. But it does speak volumes for David.
Darwin Castro takes a strike, and if you're going to have a guy, you know, to show you the ropes, you could do worse than Cliff Floyd.
That was Cliff's what he brought. That was the value of Cliff Floyd outside of his performance on the field. The Cliff kept everybody loose, and that needling and getting on David and his BP.
And the other guy who really took David under his wing when he first came up was Joe McEwing. Castro leases one to left center, but over goes Jackson. He won't get there, and it hits the base of the wall. And Castro heads to second, and they'll pull in with a leadoff double.
Boy, the way Jackson went after that ball, I thought he had a beat on it.
Ball had a little more juice on it, I think, than Austin expected.
Top of your screen, watch Jackson. I thought he had it right there. All of a sudden, he went, whoops, okay. It's a high fastball right there, up in the strikes, down the middle, I should say. And you don't make those kind of mistakes to Castro, he'll hurt you.
He's gotten the ball up a little more than he's accustomed to. Second hit for the Marlins, first one that's left the infield. Here's Peter O'Brien, who walked his first time up. A slider in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Ryan, Yankee draft pick, catcher in the minors, kicked around from organization to organization, picked up by the Marlins from the Dodgers in June, and getting a chance to play and doing real well in September. Mentioned that the Cubs lost today and that the Brewers with a win could tie for first place, but Milwaukee is down 3-0 to the Tigers. That's in the third inning at Miller Park, so that's a huge game. And a fastball for a strike, 1-2.
Now that's a long way to go in that game. The Brewers are a good offensive ball club, got a big powerful lineup. They're going to have the batting champion and Christian Yelich this year,
and Ryan Braun. A couple of home runs last night. See the second one? And it's a curveball that just misses. 2-2. The second home run, which actually put them ahead to stay. Nick Castellanos goes up for it, hits his glove, goes over the fence. That's when you know your luck is turning. 2-2 to O'Brien with Lewis Brinson on deck, and he struck him out with a fastball. 5 strikeouts for Steven Matz. That's the first out of the fourth.
Boy, he threw that fastball right by him. I think O'Brien was trying to get the runner over and then just kind of gave himself up to this ball just right by him.
Who's Hot brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Well, Matz against the Marlins. That has been some domination lately. Especially in Miami. He's barely given up anything in Marlins Park. Gave up 3 runs and 6 1/3 his last start against Miami here. That was 3 weeks ago. Marlins with that odd schedule where they visited Citi Field twice in September. Brinson fouls one back, and it's 1-1. Brinson struck out his first time up. Well, David Wright is due to lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the fourth. And then we'll see what happens from there. Plan had been 2 at-bats, go on the field, and then come out of the game. Curveball bounced foul. But as Mickey Callaway said, in baseball, everything is subject to change.
I have a feeling he may get a third AB. We'll see.
I think the question ends up being how long he can physically stand out in the field. It's you know, it's the back problem more than anything else, and how long he can keep getting in a ready position and get himself out there inning after inning. And that's up to David and how he feels. Brinson takes on the inside corner, strike 3 call. Matz loves picking off that inside corner against the right-hand batters, and he does it successfully there for his 6th strikeout.
Yeah, no surprise there. He loves that inside corner, and that's too close to take. I think that just nipped it.
G pitch cast says,
oh yeah,
just enough. So after the leadoff double, Matz has back-to-back strikeouts, And now Austin Dean, who grounded out to short his first time up. Dean with 345 in Double-A and Triple-A this year. 2 for 5 in this series. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive. And Dean pops one up into shallow right. Nimmo coming on. Side retired. David Wright leads off in the bottom of the 4th when we come back. David Wright preparing for his second plate appearance in the final game of his major league career. He drew a walk his first time up in the first inning, which was a little surprising in that you would expect the young pitcher Richards to challenge him, knowing the circumstances.
He did. He came after him with a 3-2 fastball. He missed upstairs, but he tried to throw a couple change-ups to him and breaking balls, which David showed a really good eye at the plate.
Yeah, a lot of patience considering the circumstances, but we'll see what he gets here and what could well be the last plate appearance of his major league career. Richards is nervous.
I bet you he is. And a rookie pitcher out there. Maybe he'll get a good one here, 1-0.
That was a nervous first pitch. And he pops it up. O'Brien into foul territory. Will he have room? He will. Whoa. And as much as the crowd might have willed that ball out of his glove, he does catch it. And David is retired. That his final swing as a major leaguer. The plan was 2 at-bats, head to the field, and then be taken out of the game. And we'll see whether that holds or whether David will be able to get one more plate appearance squeezed in.
I think he's desirous of another try.
There's Conforto. Well, I don't know if it's going to be a conversation, whether David will have input on that or whether the plan is already in place. But stay tuned. Conforto grounded into a double play his first time.
Well, David was always had the ability to go the opposite field, and I think he was kind of a little bit out in front there. And you've got, what do you expect? The timings can't be there.
And he was hoping that maybe that ball would fall and he'd get another chance. That squib toward the vacated space. And Conforto has an infield hit. Nobody playing at the shortstop spot, and that's exactly where Michael hit it.
Well, no one there. Don't touch that dial. Nothing wrong with your TV. That's a vacated spot.
So a Twilight Zone base hit, or was it Outer Limits?
Outer Limits. Yes.
1 out and 1 on. Here's Jay Bruce, who struck out his first time up. And Jay hits one out to center. Brinson eases back. Plenty of room. And that's the second out. Conforto back to first. So now Brandon Nimmo to call third strike his first time up. Brandon with the strikeout first time up now has an on base percentage of .403. If he can finish above 400 for the season, he'd be the first Met qualifying hitter to do that since David Wright in 2007, when David had a .416 on base percentage. Carlos Beltran did it more recently for the Mets, but that was in fewer than enough at bats to qualify. But all in all, quite a season for Nimmo. David going up the tunnel. Been back in the clubhouse, now going back into the dugout. 2-0 now to Nimmo. Talking things over with Wilmer Flores. Two and 0 to Nimmo. And he takes a changeup for a strike. Boy, he loves his changeup.
He's got a good one.
That's what got him to the big leagues. Trevor Richards, a guy who was not drafted out of college, went and played independent ball for 2 years before the Marlins signed him 2 years ago, and then he made a meteoric rise through their farm system. Now making his 25th start in his rookie season. And Nimmo takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Once again, the Mets are predominantly left-hand hitting lineup, and something that they'll probably need to address in the offseason. Maybe a right-handed bat,
like a David Wright type.
Yeah, it would be nice. They're hard to find.
Yes, they are. And a foul tip is held for a strike 3. And the inning ends. We're not going to take a commercial break here because we're not exactly sure how things are going to transpire. David Wright's going to go out in the field. I don't know whether he's coming out of the game now or whether he's going to stay in for a little longer. The plan was 2 plate appearances, go out in the field, and then be pulled out at some point to get him one last ovation. But we'll see. If he knows that he's coming out of the game, I am sure that this is going to be another one of those snapshot moments that David has been a saver. And maybe the last time those two stand on a baseball diamond together.
Well, 895 games together, these two.
860 as starters. No Met tandem has ever started more games together. There was a tandem that played in more games together, but Harrelson and Ed Kranepool, 914 games they appeared in together, but Eddie did a lot of pinch hitting second half of his career. And here we go. He's coming out.
Maybe not.
Well, got the hug from Reyes.
Hey.
One more throw back to the pitcher. And here comes Mickey Callaway. A handshake with Mike Winters, the crew chief. A salute to the fans. And the captain is heading off for one final time. with tears in his eyes. The young man from Chesapeake, Virginia, who grew up a Mets fan, drafted in the first round by the Mets, leaves as a Met and a Met only. An iconic piece of Mets history. David Wright takes his final exit from a big league baseball field.
Like a triumph in ancient Rome. It just fitting. Emotional. The final curtain, Gary.
An emotional finish to what has been an emotional day for David, who will be joining us in the booth if he can compose himself and if we can compose ourselves in the next few minutes. As Galloway leading off in the 5th inning, and he punches one the other way for a base hit. So the Marlins have their 3rd hit of the night. One more tip of the cap for the crowd. Eyes red, acknowledging his wife and his daughters and his family. And off into the sunset. Well, I think the 40,000 people here got what they came to see.
Yes.
And I hope that David got every bit of what he came for as well. We'll get to chat with him about it briefly. This is rough. This is a rough one.
Yes, it is. I know it's kind of bittersweet for David, but I'm just so happy for him that he had this moment. It's just extraordinary.
Well, we said it going in. It's really unprecedented for a player to have a finish to his career like this after missing so much time. A guy who was so identified as the face of the franchise for really almost a decade and a half, even further back if you go back to when he was drafted, and who really carried the legacy of this franchise with him. To be able to come back after that much time away and script a finish like this. The only thing that might have been different is if he'd hit a home run and left the field, but that aside, I mean, this was just everything that the fans could have asked for, and I think everything David could have asked for.
I agree, and I congratulate the Met organization for putting this together for David. Just a total class act. I'm anxious to get him up here. I'm just a little bit speechless. It was an extraordinary moment, and fitting. I mean, think about it. The Mets have over the years have not developed a lot of offensive players, everyday players. Obviously, Darryl Strawberry comes to mind, but as you said, David has been like the Mount Rushmore of the Met organization from an everyday player standpoint.
Well, the one guy who started here, finished here, and as I said before, I mean, he grew up a Mets fan. Accident of geography, if you want to say, as that was grounded down to Reyes at 3rd. McNeil with the turn, and they get the double play, 2 out. Accident of geography that, the Mets had their AAA team in Norfolk, which was right next door to where he grew up in Chesapeake, and he was a Met fan from the time he was a little kid, watching Randy Moose Milligan play for the Tidewater Tides. That's how David grew up. Always wanted to be a Met. Even played for a youth baseball team with B.J. Upton and a bunch of others, known as the Tidewater Mets. He always wanted to be a Met, and the Mets were fortunate enough to draft him with the supplemental draft pick that they got when Mike Hampton left for free agency, and the rest is history. 17 years later, after all the heartache that it took and all the struggle physically to get back on the field, he was able to return and play 4 innings on one final day with 40,000 people here, almost all of them directly here to watch him take his exit, and it was everything you could have hoped for.
And what sticks in my mind is his last at bat when he popped out and you saw the expression on his face, because boy, you want to have your he knew it was going to be his last at bat, and boy, you want to go out with a base hit, you know, and you just saw the look on his face and the resignation, and you know, that was it.
Richards strikes out, inning over. 7 strikeouts for Steven Matz. Well, we expect David Wright to be joining us for the bottom of the 5th after the emotional finish to his major league career. David Wright with us in the booth. Coming up. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Mets and Marlins no score. David Wright is in the elevator and on his way up, we are told, from his emotional exit from the field. He'll be joining us in the booth momentarily. Purchase your 2019 Mets season ticket package today. Choose from full season, half season, or 20 game plans that include opening day and the Subway Series. Plus, for a limited time, receive an authentic or replica Mets jersey with your purchase. Purchase your plan today at Mets.com/ticket plans. As we await David Wright's appearance, we go to the bottom of the 5th. Austin Jackson leads off against Trevor Richards in a scoreless game. And all the fans below us know that David is coming up to our booth, and they're all standing and turning and looking toward our booth, waiting for the captain's appearance. We'll be here soon, guys. Jackson takes a strike, 2-1. Tonight's high-speed pitch comes from Infinity and Power the Drive. Good changeup by Richards, and it's 2-2. Another good changeup to strike out Jackson. That's 5 strikeouts for Richards. 1 out of the bottom of the 5th.
He's got a good sink on that change. Gets under the bat.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Kevin Plawecki, who grounded out to third base his first time up. I can only guess, but I would imagine that David has been waylaid with all the people who want to say hello and thank you and everything. Well, here he is. And here he is. David Wright has arrived in our booth. This is fantastic.
What's up, my man? Congratulations.
And the fans below have gotten their glimpse of their captain. How in the world are you?
Man, they weren't lying when they said they're going to bring me right up to the booth, huh?
You didn't change your shirt?
Right. Want to smell? Yeah, it's
What has this day been like for you?
I haven't even gotten a chance to think about it, but incredible is probably the first word that comes to mind. The Mets, the fans, the city have gone over the top with this, and I didn't know what to expect tonight, but I'll tell you what, I thought all my tears were done, but I got to that clubhouse and they started rolling again, and I just can't thank you guys, the organization, the fans enough. This was special, and I mean, what a night.
What is so far, because I know it's not over yet, the single most poignant thing that has happened for you today?
I mean, I would just say this. Look at this place. This place is packed. The signs, the chants. the thank yous. I mean, I need to be thanking them. This has been incredible, emotional, and if I could say thank you a million times to these fans and this city and this organization, this is first class.
You talked so much about how important it was for your daughters to be here. They weren't even alive the last time you played in a major league game before last night. What was that like for you?
She actually threw the ball, which I was pumped about. We've been working on that, and I would say 10% of the time she actually throws it overhand, and then 50% of the time she runs up real close to me and slings it. And then what does that add up to? 60. Then the other 40% of the time she just runs. So I envision this. She started taking off towards left field, and I'm having to chase her down there and grab her and bring her back. So that was really, really special. To see my friends, my family, my daughters. That was quite the nice touch and a classy move to let them throw out the first pitch.
David, you put so much hard work to be able to get your Fanny out there on the field again. You had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of frustration. You feel like this is the culmination of it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's I'd like to think that I made it back, but this was a gesture by the Mets to allow me to have this night, to have the at-bat last night. That was all, them for allowing me to do this, and I can't thank them enough. I mean, it's, when you allow a guy that had the trouble that I had physically and playing the game in the minor leagues this year to come back and have this type of night. I mean, the hair on the back of my neck is standing. It's sending chills down my spine, and this is a night that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
You arrived here, I remember, as a 21-year-old, very confident, at least outwardly, and soon developed into a leader. Do you remember how you got from the 21-year-old who arrived to being the leader of this team?
Well, it's a lot of the guys that are here tonight. I saw Cliff Floyd before the game. I got a great phone call from Joe McEwing. I see Johnny Franco pretty consistently. Mike Piazza, a guy that has really mentored me from day one. Michael Kadire made the trip up today, and I got a chance to spend some time with him. That's, I think, how I got to this point. My parents sitting down there. The foundation that my family and then teammates throughout the years have given me has been, I mean, I can't thank those guys enough. I mean, they showed me the ropes. They showed me how to act like a professional, play like a professional, and that really, really means the world to me.
How does it feel for you? This is the Big Apple. This is where it's at. This is the spotlight, to have played your entire career here, that have had the success that you've had. How you've the impact you've had on the community with your giving. How does that make you feel, and what motivated you to be this special person?
Well, let me say this first. You might have given me the biggest compliment that I've received yet by saying that I could play for that '86 team.
You could.
I saw something. You said I could play for that '86 team, and that made my heart grow, Keith, and I really appreciate that.
You might hit 7. You're not going to hit 3rd.
Let me ask you this before you go, David, because I think this is important for millions of Met fans. You grew up as a Met fan in Virginia. Mm-hmm. You were drafted by the Mets. You only played for the Mets. You will always be an iconic piece of this franchise. And 40,000 people came out today, and there are millions more watching because they identify you as not only the face of the Mets, but the conscience of the Mets. Do you understand what all that means?
I don't think so. We talked about those players before me, and when I came to New York, I learned at a very young age, and a lot of it had to do with Jay Horwitz and Shannon and Ethan. These guys showing me that playing baseball in New York is not just playing baseball in New York. It's a different animal. It's dealing with the media. It's making yourself accessible, being accountable. And that's something that I was very fortunate to learn at a young age, and something where even when things weren't going our way or my way, it was important for me to step up and, you know, even in the dark times say, you know what, it's going to get better. And, you know, I just can't thank Jay and his staff, you know, enough for really drilling that into me at a young age to say, hey, you know, good game or bad game, you got to be there. You got to speak on behalf of the team. And, you know, I just took that and I felt responsible. And the love that I have for this organization, as you mentioned, I grew up in Norfolk, watching our AAA team, being a Mets fan. So, you know, I feel like I'm one of them. You know, it's you know, when I'm around Mets fans, when I'm around the orange and blue, you know, it's like I'm at home. And, you know, that's very, very important to me.
David, it's been an honor watching every game you've ever played, and more importantly, it's been an honor knowing you. And thank you for everything that you've done for us, but more importantly, what you've done for the entire Mets community.
Are you kidding me? Thank you. You know, that's a very, very high praise. But you know, I want to thank you guys. You know, you guys are the best, and this organization is the best, and certainly the fans are the best. So, you know, a hat tip, and thank you very, very much.
David, thank you.
David, great career.
Thank you, sir.
Take a bow to your loving audience here, your fans.
We're told we have to send you off to Hound.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
I was kind of enjoying this, you know?
You can stay for as long as you want, but the radio guys are getting.
Well, hopefully I get invited back. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have an open invitation
Good.
anytime.
Well, thank you.
Even if we have to send Ronnie back to the high chair,
Yes.
you can always come back.
Yes. Well, great. Well, I might go to your burger spot and grab a burger.
David, thanks, David.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, man.
It's been an honor. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Go change your shirt. You're not hitting third. How did the scoring go?
I have no idea. I think it's still a scoreless game. Our stack guy will fill us in. I believe that Rojas just grounded out to short.
I missed that whole last inning. I had my eyes were on the ball, of course.
And all he did for the minutes that he was here was reinforce what we've been saying all along. He is an extraordinary person in addition to all of his on-field exploits, and every accolade that has come his way as far as his charity, his accountability, his accommodation to everybody who has asked for any little piece of his time over the last 14 years. It's all real.
Yes.
And I think he just heard that in his comments.
Oh, boy.
He's just a special dude.
As I've always said, you get little boy dreams to be a major league player, and then they come to an end, and there's no senior league like golf or tennis.
Rosario with the chance and throws out Anderson 2 away. And, you know, we didn't get a chance to delve into what's next for David. And I don't think he knows what's next. I do think, and I don't know if it'll be immediate, but I do think there'll be some place that he finds in baseball that is worthwhile to him, because he loves the game too much to completely step away.
And obviously within this organization.
Right, whether that means broadcasting, front office, whatever. I mean, he talked during his press conference when he announced that this would be his final game, that he loved talking to the young players when he was down doing his rehab stints, that he really got a kick out of, you know, talking to the 18, 19-year-olds who were just starting out and just sitting and talking baseball with them. And somehow I think he'll find his way to be able to do that.
Well, that is just the kind of person that he is. And they're chanting, "Thank you, David." Very nice. Well,
Been a lot of smiles today.
He's going to be one exhausted man when the sun rises tomorrow.
I mean, just from the moment he got here today, every single move that he's made, he has been the center of attention, and rightly so. And he is to be applauded for the way he finished his career, just as the way he conducted his career. Matt strikes out Castro, inning over. 8 strikeouts for Matz in 6 scoreless innings, as we salute the captain on his exit.
The entire FDNY, I can speak basically about Engine 10, Ladder 10. Since September 11th, he has come to visit us almost every year, come by, sign balls, giving out things such as jerseys to family members of people who have passed on 9/11, as well as current members. He's always brought the spirit of the New York Mets here, as well as uplifted us during September 11th. We don't always get a heads up that he's coming down, so the people that are here are blessed with his visit.
Some of those little things that David Wright has done over the years for so many people without fanfare, whether it's visiting firehouses, whether it's helping a clubby buy nursery furniture for their new child, whether it's taking care of security guards who take care of him. He has been there for so many people over the years. And now he's there for Howie.
Yes, he is. And that's a lot more talking going on in that radio.
It was interesting that he said that he thought he had done it, shed all the tears that he was going to shed when he came off the field, and then he went back in the clubhouse and it started coming again. That's why he was slightly delayed getting here. So I think he really had to compose himself.
Yes.
This was an incredibly emotional experience for him. 3-1 to McNeil, leading off in the home 6th in a scoreless game.
My phone is getting blown up with texts. Everybody's just, it's just, I looked at it in the half inning and I just got miles and miles of comments from people.
McNeil scoots one up the middle for a base hit. And the Mets get the leadoff man on in the 6th.
So there are tons of people watching tonight, and they're just going to have to wait until this game is over.
Well, for every one of the 40,000 people who have made their way here tonight, there are probably a dozen more that wanted to get here tonight but couldn't, because as soon as it was announced that this was going to be David's final game, the tickets sold out in a snap.
Yep.
So I'm sure there are plenty of folks who have been glued all night. We might also remind folks that, I don't know if we've even mentioned this yet, perhaps we should, that when the game is over tonight, the plan is for there to be a tribute video shown on the scoreboard here, which we will run as well. And then David is going to take the microphone and address the crowd, which should be quite the love fest as well. And then there are fireworks after that. So.
Appropriately, and it's going to be a long evening.
So I think, it's worth noting that nobody has left. Even though David Wright is out of this game, his night has not yet been concluded. Rosario batting for the first time. He took over Wright's spot in the batting order, and David came out of the game. Ahmed drove in the only Mets run last night. Another cheer for David. I believe he's leaving the radio booth now. Waving to the fans.
I do think that David could have stayed here 3-4 innings, and
I had at least 5 innings of questions ready for him.
He is going to have the press to address afterwards too.
Rojas with the flip. Castro no chance to turn 2 against Rosario's speed, and that's the first down. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Ford. For great deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, visit buyfordnow.com. Here's Conforto, who had an infield hit his last time up, 1 for 2 on the night. Long hold by Richards with Rosario at first.
I get the biggest kick out of Conforto when he hits. He just very calmly sits there ready to hit in his stance and very methodically chews that gum.
We always talk about hitters who are quiet at the plate and that being a good thing.
Yep. I could not multitask when I was up at the plate. I had to have singular focus.
But you don't have to think about chewing gum, Gabe.
Just it's another thing to do.
I mean, I'm sure you could walk and chew gum. I don't know about facing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs and chewing gum. I've seen hitters who blow bubbles as they swing the bat.
It's amazing to me.
Richards for the season has thrown his changeup 32% of the time. In his start against the Mets 3 weeks ago, he threw it 38% of the time. And he's probably in the same neighborhood again tonight. Especially with all the left-hand hitters in the Mets lineup. He bounced the fastball inside, 2-1.
He's really pounded left-handers inside. He's got that dart four-seamer direct line on that inside corner. He's been very effective with that, which has helped his very excellent changeup.
He misses away with the changeup, and it's 3-1. Mets have bullpen action going. Tyler Bachelor is up. Matz has thrown 6 scoreless innings, but he's thrown 97 pitches, so Stevens' night and season may be done. Another fine start for Matz tonight that kind of gets lost with all of the focus on David Wright, and deservedly so. There goes Rosario, and Conforto rolls over one. Castro makes the play on Conforto for the second out, and Rosario's on second. First time the Mets have gotten a runner to second base since the first inning. So if Matz is done for the night, amazingly, this last great stretch that he went on will drop his season ERA under 4. He'll finish at 3.97.
Oh, well, that's big.
So now Jay Bruce trying to get the first run of the game home. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Jay has struck out and flied out 0 for 2. Job well done by Steven tonight. Amidst all the hoopla, he concentrated on his task at hand. There goes Rosario stealing third, and it's dropped by Holiday.
That was a wild pitch, Gary. I think the ball was in the dirt.
No, he took off on the pitch.
So would that be a stolen base?
Yes, that is a stolen base.
Okay.
Third steal for Rosario, so he's at third with 2 out. 1-1 count to Bruce, and the changeup misses. 2-1.
It's almost like a split finger that Richards is throwing here. It's got good late hard sink to it.
Bruce fights one off. 2-2.
There's that fastball in again against the left-handers, and Bruce did the right thing. If he's going to be protecting the plate, you fight off that inside fastball if it's in a good spot like that was up and in, and then you're prepared also by going up the middle to hit the changeup. Fastball away.
And Bruce goes down swinging to end the inning. So Rosario is stranded at third. 6 scoreless innings for Trevor Richards, and we go to the 7th with no score. Some scenes from David Wright's emotional final day on a Major League Baseball field. This is a quote from just moments ago when he was on with us. When I'm around Mets fans, when I'm around the orange and blue, I feel like I'm at home. We go to the 7th inning. Tyler Bachelor in to pitch for New York. And Peter O'Brien takes curveball for a strike.
Well, Bachelor, I like his stuff, and he's been getting a lot of action, and a lot of times he's come in with the game on the line. So he's getting a little baptism under fire here, which is a good thing. He's got a good arm, good breaking ball.
Took a bit of a break since his last outing. Went 2/3 of an inning against the Braves. No runs, 1 hit. O'Brien has walked and struck out tonight, 0 for 1. And he takes a fastball on the corner at 98. 1-2. So Steven Matz threw 97 pitches in his final start of the season. 6 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. His last 7 starts, Matz had a 2.29 ERA. Which lowered it for the season to 3.97. Popped up foul, that'll come out of play. And that's quite a finish for David, for Steven. This Hispanic Heritage Month, MLB and the Mets are celebrating the many ways Latinos put an accent on baseball. Share how you put an accent on the game with hashtag Ponle Acento. One-two to O'Brien, and it's too high, 2-2. And O'Brien takes high, 3-2. We are speculating that the reason the crowd is booing is because O'Brien caught the foul pop-up that David Wright had.
Oh, I'm sitting here going, why are they booing?
Did they feel as though he should have let it drop? I mean, that's a little silly. 3-2 coming, and he fouls one back.
And I don't think O'Brien is, I think he's oblivious to it. I don't think he feels that there's, if it is directed at him, that it is.
Three-two coming. In the air, deep to left center field. Jackson back on the warning track. He's calling, and he makes the catch. Just stayed in the ballpark. A little breeze blowing in tonight might have saved Bachelor there, as O'Brien is retired for a long first out. And here's a new round of boos as he heads back to the dugout.
He was aware. He tipped his hat to the fans.
That's pretty funny.
And last night, that ball's a home run. That ball was carrying in that spot last night.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Lewis Brinson, who's been up twice, struck out both times. Matt struck out 8 in his 6 innings of work. Well, the Mets starting pitching coming down the stretch of this season has been nothing short of extraordinary. In the series against Atlanta, they had 21 consecutive scoreless innings from the starters. And now in the first 2 games of this series, 1 run in 10 innings. So that's 1 run allowed by the starters in the last 31 innings over the last 5 games. Final start of the year goes to Noah Syndergaard tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow, everybody in baseball starts at the same time in the 3 o'clock Eastern Time hour. Will there be any races left? Well, the Brewers have come back to take a lead on the Tigers. They were down 3-0 early. They're up 5-4 in the 6th. If Milwaukee wins, they'll be tied with the Cubs for the Central lead going into the final day. Driven in the air foul down the left side. Around the Majors brought to you by Mercedes. The best or nothing. The Yankees. Gleyber Torres hit the record-setting home run, and then Giancarlo Stanton handed his 38th and then got hit with the ball by a fan throwing it back on the field as the Yankees beat the Red Sox. Miles Mikolas kept the Cardinals alive for a moment, but they got eliminated when the Dodgers beat the Giants. 3-run double by Max Muncy put that game away in the 9th.
And Washington has jumped on early on Colorado 5-1, and that's in the bottom of the 2nd. But 4-run leads don't mean much in Coors Field.
Well, with the Dodgers having won, if the Rockies lose, then that division will be tied going into the final day, and we'll have 2 divisional ties possible going into the final day of the season, both the NL Central and West. Right now, the Rockies have won 8 straight, lead by a half game over the Dodgers. Won last night behind Justin Turner's 2-run homer, and then won again today by outscoring the Giants 10-6. Second straight full count for Bachelor, and Brinson yanks another one foul. Mets starters ERA in September is now down to 2.50, which is the best in the major leagues. Well, the Tigers just tied up the Brewers again. That's 5-5 in the 6th. Also, nothing easy for Milwaukee tonight. 8th pitch to Brinson, and he fouls back in the hole. The Marlins have 3 hits. The Mets have 4. We have seen Met-Marlins games on the second to last day of the season result in spectacular pitching performances before. If you'll recall, there's ball 4 to Brinson. The 2007 season, when the Mets were battling for their postseason lives, John Maine kept them alive on that last Saturday of the season, carrying a no-hit bid into the 8th inning and striking out 14 to keep the Mets alive to the final day. And then the very next year, second to last day of the season, 2008, Johan Santana pitching on 3 days rest threw a complete game gem against the Marlins again to keep the Mets alive to the final day. Austin Dean takes a strike. All the focus on his no-hitter, and it was obviously an historic moment. That might have been the best game Santana ever pitched as a Met because of the import of it. He was pitching with a bad knee, pitching on 3 days rest, and shut down the Marlins. Of course, in each instance, in both 07 and 08, the Marlins won on the final day, and the Mets went home.
What was the year when the Marlins catcher went after Jose?
No, that was 07.
07?
Yeah, that was the first game of that series on the Friday. Miguel Olivo.
Yes, Miguel Olivo went after Reyes at third base.
2-1 to Dean. There's your Marlins box score brought to you by Nissan. Just 3 hits.
Only 7 hits in this game.
If I remember, when Olivo went after Reyes, Sandy Alomar Sr., the Mets third base coach, stepped in between and ended up getting the worst of it.
Well, he got roughed up.
There goes Brinson, and it's fouled off.
And it was funny, the next day in the paper, Olivo apologized to Sandy Alomar Sr., saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to harm you."
Funny thing about it is that Olivo and Reyes were actually pretty good friends.
Yes.
But it really, I think, incentivized the Marlins. They put up signs basically saying, let's knock these guys out.
There was no love lost between the Marlins and the Mets. And the Marlins have always been a team that has, even though this year it's been a tough year for them, they always are plucky against the Mets.
Mets are ahead in the season series 10-7, but no question the Marlins have been a difficult out. Two coming to Dean. He fouls one back. Bachelor throwing a lot of pitches. Just 3 batters. He's already thrown 22 pitches. By the way, we showed that Washington-Colorado score. One thing to keep in mind is that Max Scherzer pitches tomorrow for the Nationals against Colorado on the season's final day. The line going into the series was that he would only pitch if the game mattered to the Rockies. Well, now it's going to matter to the Rockies whether they win or lose today. So Scherzer will pitch, and that certainly makes it that much more difficult for Colorado.
Bachelor's overthrowing here a little bit. He's throwing hard, but he's just up in the strike zone.
Brinson was running earlier in the count. Now 3-2 and 1 out. Hold by Bachelor, and Dean got tired of waiting. Not a soul has left this place. You would think this was a postseason game. 3-2. Brinson runs. That's drilled to left, but Conforto comes in and grabs it. Now Brinson has to slam on the brakes and go back to first. And gets back safely. A bullet off the bat of Dean for the second out.
Well, that was trouble if that's down the line or gap.
So 2 out and a runner at first. Now has a Galloway. Galloway had an opposite field base hit his last time up. One of 3 hits for the Marlins today. Wake up with Dan, Byron, Marissa, and the rest of the Picks Morning News crew with breaking news, traffic, and sports, plus the latest weather to keep you in the know. Mornings from 4:30 to 9 on the Picks 11 Morning News, New York's very own. Ball 1 to Galloway. Cal Barraclough is up in the Miami bullpen. With the starter Trevor Richards having gone 6 innings and 87 pitches, and the pitcher's spot 2 batters away. And Galloway fouls back, and it's 1-1.
I gotta think.
Wow, got some work last night.
Yeah, he came in the relief of Urania in the 7th.
And it was still a fairly close game. That bullpen struggled last night. It's had some defensive issues as well, which led to 4 unearned runs. Daniel Zamora up in the Mets bullpen. Got a lot of good left-handed bats on the bench, including Derek Dietrich from Miami. 1-1 to Galloway, and Bachelor bends the curveball in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Brinson at first and 2 out. And Galloway down swinging to end the inning. So Bachelor finds his way through the 7th. Took a lot of pitches to get there. 7th inning stretch time, still no score. David Wright's big night, the final night of his major league career. And he had plenty of smiles and plenty of tears and heard plenty of cheers in his final go-round. One guy who knows David extremely well, his former childhood friend and teammate Michael Kadire, standing by with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Thanks so much, Gary. Yeah, they were teammates in 2015, but lifelong friends. Michael, I know it was important for you to be here tonight for David. After seeing everything that went on, what were your emotions watching it go down?
Well, I was excited for him. You know, everything that he went through mentally, physically, to be able to get to this moment, you know, from the first pitch with his daughter, to be able to get a hero send-off walking off the field like that, you know, it's special, very special.
I know that you have been in constant contact with him over the last few months. What has his mental state been leading up to this day?
It's always been grinding, man. I mean, that's the way he is. That's the way he's built. He's grinded every day to get to tonight. You know, obviously he would have wished it would have been for more of the future, but you know, this is what he grinded for, and for him to be able to have a night like this that's special in front of his family, in front of the city, in front of the fans, it's a big moment for him.
All right, Michael, we're going to check in with Gary really quickly because it looked like Brandon Nimmo got hurt on that play. We'll be right back with you in a sec. Gary?
Well, he grabbed his hamstring as he came around first base, and that's certainly not the way Brandon Nimmo wanted to end this spectacular season of his. He gets a base hit, clearly a hamstring injury, and his season clearly is done. Wow.
Oh, it's just get him off the field.
Really.
Get him off the field. Get him in there.
Brandon's year ends with a hit. A spectacular season for young Mr. Nimmo. I don't think anybody expected what the Mets got out of Nimmo in 2018. He'll finish the season with an on-base percentage over 400, the first to do that since David Wright. But he will exit with a painful right hamstring.
Well, yes. Well, here's the scene of the crime. But it's when he let up. How about that?
And when he got to first base.
How about that? Not when he was really busting.
Looked like it was on the deceleration right as he hit the bag, and it was not the foot that hit the bag, it was the other one.
Well, I know I'm repeating myself, but just get some ice on that thing quickly.
Well, he's got a few months to recover now.
Yeah, he certainly does.
Jack Reinheimer will run for him. Let's go back to Steve with Michael Kadire. Steve?
Yeah, Gary, tough way to continue this interview. But, Michael, since you do have that perspective with David from childhood, what can you share about him as a kid growing up playing baseball in Chesapeake?
Well, the thing about David, and I've said it time and time again, is he's authentic. You know, he is, what you see is what you get with him, and I think that's what endears him so much to the fans, to his teammates, to the front office, to the coaching staff, to everybody. Is, you know, he's true, and that's very rare these days, especially in professional sports, to find somebody who is authentically nice and genuine and truly cares about people.
You know, you guys were together for one of the great years of this franchise in 2015. He missed about 4.5 months of that season. When he came back, how much did the group want to do it, not just for each other, but specifically for him?
Yeah, I mean, whenever he walked into a room, you could see the room kind of light up. And, you know, everybody, you know, he's one of those guys that when he walked in the room, he commanded respect. He didn't demand respect, but he commanded it just by the way he carried himself. And when he came back, I mean, that was, you know, one of the turning points of our season, late into the season. And then it carried us through into the postseason and through the postseason.
Finally, Michael, from a guy that played with him and against him in the fraternity of Major League Baseball players, how is he viewed and how will he be remembered when all is said and done?
With the utmost respect. I mean, probably in my eyes, as far as a guy to wear the one uniform for his whole career, you got to put him up there as probably the greatest Met to ever do that. And I think he, throughout the game of baseball, from the outside looking in, he's that much respected from other teams and other organizations as well.
Michael, so great to see you. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes.
Our pleasure.
All right, Barry, back to you.
Jackson drives one to the warning track, but Dean runs it down for the first out. Well, Michael Kadire was a class act himself as a player, and the Mets were the better for having him on their roster, even if only for the brief time that he was here.
And that's just another thing about David, that his ex-teammates came to be here and to celebrate his retirement and his big night.
Here's Kevin Plawecki, who's grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. Well, I think what Michael said rings true. I think everybody who has ever encountered David understands the kind of person that he is, whether by reputation or by direct access, whether you are a teammate, an opponent, an umpire, a media person, a fan, a coach, a manager. Everybody understands just what this guy's all about. And, you know, I think it's you go back over every day for the last 17 years since he was first drafted. I challenge you to find anybody who ever said a negative word about David Wright. It never happened, because that is who he is. Plawecki carves one foul, and it's 2-1. Plawecki's grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. Dom Smith is on deck to pinch hit. Trevor Richards, 97 pitches deep in his final start of the year, threw 7 scoreless against the Reds in his last start. And he strikes out, or he gets the second strike on Plawecki with a high fastball, 2-2. By the way, Brandon Nimmo, assuming he doesn't play tomorrow, which certainly he will not, will finish the year with an on-base percentage of .404, which is truly spectacular.
That is outstanding, worthy of someone to be up there in the top of that order to set it up for the big boys.
Plawecki skies one to shallow left center. Brinson angles in to get it. 2 out. And now Smith's going back to the dugout, and Todd Frazier's going to come up to pinch hit instead. Looking for a home run in this spot. Mickey Callaway will send up his best power hitter off the bench. It's been a rough September for Frazier. Hitless in his last 13 at bats, but looking to get a hold of one here with 2 out of the 7. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Nissan. Now's the best time to save big at Nissan's Take Home a Titan Truck Month event.
Someone needs to break the ice here.
Sellout crowd at Citi Field. David Wright will be addressing the crowd when the game comes to an end. Fireworks to follow that. The holiday season is right around the corner. Don't miss your chance to host your one-of-a-kind event here at Citi Field this winter. For more information, visit Mets.com/holiday party.
Get a quick jump on it.
Winter is less than 24 hours away in a baseball sense. So Richards trying to finish off the 7th. Reinheimer at first with 2 out. And Frazier takes the first pitch changeup for a strike. Ball and a strike to Frazier. Frazier 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. takes one just off the plate. 2-1. Jose Reyes would be next. Richards now at 102 pitches. His pitch count high this year is 110. Frazier fouls one back. 2-2. Richards has had a pretty nice rookie year for a kid who went to Drury University, Division II school. Wasn't drafted out of college. 2 years with the Gateway Grizzlies in the Frontier League. And then finally got to a big league organization when the Marlins signed him 2 years ago in the middle of the season. And now, after 7 scoreless in his last outing, has a chance for 7 more to finish the season. Frazier drives one out to right. That's falling fast. Base hit. Around second, Reinheimer. He'll go to third. And the ball gets away briefly, but Rojas backs it up. So Frazier keeps the inning alive with a pinch hit single. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 2 out, and Reyes coming up.
Inside out here, got beat inside, but he stayed level, muscles it out into right field.
Everybody's looking into the Marlins dugout, including the catcher Holiday, to see whether Don Mattingly's coming out, and he is. So Richards is not going to face Reyes, and the Marlins will make a pitching change with 2 out in the 7th. Double switch coming from Miami. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Adam Conley coming in. We'll be right back. There have been only 4 captains in New York Mets history. Keith was the first. He was then co-captained with Gary Carter. John Franco was the 3rd Met captain. And then 5 years ago, David Wright joined that pantheon. And this year, David was the only captain in Major League Baseball. It's a particular honor that not every team bestows, and not even the teams that do it all the time. Rafael Ortega in to play left field. Adam Conley in the pitch, and he throws one by Jose Reyes. 0-1. Well, if David wasn't going to get the big hit in this game, it would certainly be fitting if Reyes did. Jose had a double to lead off the first inning. Since then, he's flied out and struck out. Reinheimer at third, Frazier at first with 2 out. And saws one off foul down the right side. 0-2. Mets in-game box score brought to you by Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Reyes has the Mets' only extra base hit among their 6 hits tonight. 2 of them have come in this inning. One of them painfully, as Nimmo pulled a hamstring and had to leave the game. Frazier runs and Reyes fouls it off. The Washington-Colorado game is now in the 4th inning. Still Nationals 5, Rockies 1. The Dodgers hoping the Nats will help them and forge a tie in the National League West. The Brewers and Tigers are still 5-5 in the 6th. Cubs hoping the Tigers can keep the Brewers from tying the National League Central after the Cubs lost today. 0-2. Frazier runs again, and Reyes drives one to center, but it stays up for Brinson, and that retires the side. Mets strand a couple in the 7th. On we go to the 8th, still scoreless. Now you can watch the Pix games on the go. Just log on to Pix11.com or download the Pix11 app for mobile devices. Changes for the Mets. Jack Reinheimer, who pinch ran for the injured Nimmo, stays in left field. Michael Conforto moves from left field to right field. And Drew Smith will come on to pitch the 8th inning for New York.
Well, Drew, another guy that's been getting a great look here. He's had difficulty coming in with men on base, and he's had a lot of situations where Mickey Callaway has brought him in with men on base, but when he starts an inning, he does okay. And last time out, Gary, we noticed he started throwing a good changeup.
To your point about coming in the middle of innings, 17 inherited base runners this year. 12 of the 17 have scored. That's really not good at all. But Smith getting a chance for a clean inning this time. Brian Holiday leading off. Rafael Ortega, who came out of the double switch, is on deck in the 9th spot, and then Miguel Rojas in the 8th. Holiday has the distinction of having hit the only ball in this game that presented a chance for David Wright. He had one hopper to third in the 2nd inning. Wright threw him out, and that was the only ball that he handled in his final big league game. If you're just joining us, David had 2 plate appearances, a walk and a foul pop-up that was caught by Peter O'Brien. David was then kind enough to join us in the booth for a little bit, and he will be addressing the crowd at the conclusion of the game. Curveball from Smith off the plate to Holiday, 2-2. Steven Matz went 6 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Tyler Bachelor threw 28 pitches to 4 batters, but survived a walk, a strikeout, no runs, no hits. Holiday lifts one to center. Jackson has plenty of room. 1 out. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Rafael Ortega will bat for the first time. Last time the Mets and Marlins got together 3 weeks ago, Ortega was getting a lot of regular playing time. Now they're looking at some other guys. Ortega 130 at bats this year, hitting .238, no home runs. In fact, they were using him as a leadoff hitter a few weeks ago. And he cranks one out to right, and Conforto coming toward the line. 2 out. Out of town scores brought to you by Altice One from Optimum. Miles Michaelis 18-4 with a 2.83 ERA, kept the Cardinals alive briefly, but the Dodgers squelched St. Louis's postseason hopes. Dodgers clinch a postseason berth, and they can tie for first place if the Nationals beat the Rockies. Trey Turner a 2-run homer for Washington. Meanwhile, Milwaukee and Detroit still tied 5-5. The Brewers can tie the Cubs for the Central lead going into the final day if they win tonight. Christian Yelich, who appears to be the front runner for National League MVP, 35th home run today.
Wow. And a batting title to boot.
And the Marlins know exactly what got away. They got Brinson back in that deal, but so far it looks like a very lopsided trade. Brinson has shown some terrific defensive chops, but whether he's going to hit or not is still an open question. Yelich, on the other hand, has taken advantage of a little more favorable home ballpark to have himself a career year. Rojas 1 for 3, had an infield hit back in the first, and he gets one off the fists, a foul ball. 1-2. Tomorrow it's Noah Syndergaard on the season's final day, and the impressive young right-hander for the Marlins, Sandy Alcantara, goes. It's a 3:10 start. Everybody in baseball will start in the 3 o'clock hour. There's the captain back in the dugout. I understand he spent some time with his family in the suite before heading back to the dugout, where he will stay with his teammates for the remainder of the game and then address the crowd at the game's conclusion. Quite a day.
Yes.
He is going to sleep really well tonight. Rojas goes down on strikes. Good inning for Drew Smith. Got him with a changeup. 1-2-3 go the Marlins. We go to the bottom of the 8th. No score. Mets Health Report brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. It was good to see Juan Lagares out on the field today, doing some throwing, doing some running. Appears to be recovered from the torn ligament in his toe that he heard banging into the fence early this season.
It would be nice for him to get to play some winter ball. He's missed a lot of time. Get some repetition in, some reps, I should say.
Jeff McNeil leads off in the bottom of the 8th. Official attendance tonight 43,928, the 6th largest crowd. Or did they say the 4th largest? 4th largest crowd in Citi Field history. Is that right? 6th largest crowd in Citi Field history. Anyway, it was a big crowd that came out to see David Wright's final game today. And they got their money's worth. Smiles and tears and every manner of emotion. David and everybody around him. And every one of those 43,000 plus in the ballpark. Jeff McNeil is sacrificed, flied out, and singled to center. Facing a tough lefty in Adam Conley. Ahmed Rosario on deck. Plays off that slider, and it's 2-2. Trevor Richards went 6 2/3, no runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, 104 pitches. Two to McNeil, and he struck him out. Nasty changeup from Conley to get McNeil for the first out of the 8th.
Conley is a little wicked on left-handers. Oh, that was a fastball, Gary. He just ran that thing. Was it a change?
Yeah.
Boy, he just almost hit him. That ball just sunk inside. Wasn't a strike.
So 1 out and nobody on. McNeil trying to explain to Pat Russler, the hitting coach, what that last pitch was. Here's Rosario, his 2nd plate appearance after he took Wright's spot in the batting order. Rosario reached on a fielder's choice, wound up stealing 3rd, but was stranded there. Mets 3 times have stranded a runner at 3rd tonight. This is the 4th game this year the Mets have played in which it was scoreless after 7 innings. Brian Anderson playing right on the line at 3rd.
Well, 8th inning, tie ball game. And you normally guard the lines, although we're getting away from that.
Well, they will guard the line in a shift, but there's no shift. So the hole on the 3rd base side between the shortstop and the 3rd baseman is wide open.
Well, the old rule was no doubles, right? If the tying run comes to the plate.
Of course, the problem with that is that you're covering less of the field. Rosario swings through a fastball, 3-2. It's interesting now, the hybrids between the modern shifts and the old axioms that sit down the line of foul ball, and I think you're seeing one right now. Got Mattingly having his 3rd baseman play the line, even though they're not playing a shift.
I can see the first baseman. I never like to be anchored on that line as Anderson on your left is at 3rd base. But I didn't want anything to get by me for a double. If it was a right-hand hitter, it was a pull hitter.
Line the other way, and Rosario's got a base hit. Galloway flags it down. Rosario will have to stop at first. So Ahmed taking one the other way on 3-2, and the Mets have a 1-out base run.
Well, Ahmed has he's really come a long way on the high pitch to stay level. Look at that level swing, and that's why it's a line drive. He's used the opposite field.
142 hits now in his first full big league season, and he's already stolen a base in this game, and he'd certainly love to steal another. In a scoreless game in the 8th, Conforto 1 for 3 had an infield hit in the 4th. And they're in the same configuration as they were when Conforto had the infield hit, which he rolled out toward the shortstop position.
Well, 2-strike hitting, you're going up the middle. You should be able to cover the outside corner, and there he is driving right at the pitcher. Well done, more impressively staying on top of the high ball.
Conforto, 28 home runs this year, 10 of them against left-handed pitchers. Well, this is a particularly tough lefty. Conforto is 0 for 7 against Conley. There goes Rosario. The throw by Holiday on a hop. Out. Oh. Nice tag by Rojas on that one-hop throw from Holiday, and Rosario is gunned down for the second out.
Not an easy pickup right there from the throw from Holiday. Quick release. That's not an easy play.
Got his knee down to help block the bag.
Just beat him.
Tag down. Yep. Good play by Rojas. 2 out. And Conforto swings and misses at a fastball. 1-1. Slider away. 2-1. Anthony Swarzak is up in the Mets bullpen with Lugo and Gazelman both having been shut down for the final weekend. Swarzak will pitch the 9th. 2-2 to Conforto. Two coming, and he got him with that same changeup that he struck out McNeil. A couple of strikeouts inning for Conley, helped out by a caught stealing, and we go to the 9th with no score. The play of the game is brought to you by Spectrum TV, the way you want it. And Olivia Wright provides the Spectrum play of the game. David Wright's 2-year-old daughter did a masterful job getting the ball into Daddy and producing those smiles. Anthony Swarzak will pitch the 9th inning in a scoreless game.
Tough year for Anthony, only the 28 games, hurt in spring training, came back, started to throw well after missing so much time, then hurt his elbow, and back on the DL, now back. It's been just a tough year for him.
Right. Brian Anderson leads off in the 9th. Anderson's 0 for 3 tonight, 2 strikeouts and a grounder to short. Swarzak pitched 2 nights ago against the Braves, gave up a walk and a single, didn't retire a batter. Anderson, Castro, and O'Brien, 3 right-hand hitters, due up against Swarzak. Miami with just 3 hits tonight. The Mets have 7. Scoreless game in the 9th. Speech by the captain and fireworks to follow, whenever it might end. I don't want to, say anything, but last night the Padres and the Diamondbacks played 15 innings in San Diego. Another game that didn't have postseason import. Swarzak with a high fastball strikes out Anderson, 1 out.
I seem to recall in 2010, the last game of the season, we had extra inning.
14 against the Nationals.
And that was a tough year for me. And I think in around the 13th inning, I nodded off. And not in commercial.
But I know what woke you up. What woke you up was the call to the bullpen in the 4th inning, bringing Oliver Perez into the game.
Yes.
When he hadn't pitched in a month.
Yes.
And surely enough, he gave up the run that managed to send everybody home for the season. Starlin Castro has a double in 3 trips tonight. He doubled leading off the 4th, but Matz was able to get through unscathed. That's taken the other way. Down for a base hit. Conforto has to play it on a hop, and Castro has his 2nd hit of the night. And now the newest villain in town, Peter O'Brien's coming up. This is wild.
It is.
I'm not sure I get it. Do you get it? I mean, did they really expect him to purposely drop the foul pop-up, or is it just kind of a funny thing?
He almost went left the yard.
Hit one to the warning track in center field in the 7th. That was against Tyler Bachelor, and he takes a slider out of the strike zone for ball 1. In case you're just joining us, David Wright had 2 plate appearances tonight. He walked in the 1st, and then in the 4th he had a foul pop-up, which O'Brien caught over near the railing. And in his subsequent plate appearances, O'Brien has been roundly jeered. Slider in for a strike, 1-1. I mean, it's not John Rocker style booing, or even, Chipper Jones booing.
Well, Rocker was a different.
There goes Castro, the throw by Plawecki on the money, and he got him. Now each catcher has thrown out a base runner in the late innings. Plawecki guns down Castro, 2-4 for the 2nd out.
I think the players are trying to make something happen here. Beautiful throw by Plawecki. Gets rid of the ball quickly. His throwing has really improved. Good footwork.
Hopefully getting more of a direct line towards second base now. So 2 out and nobody on. 1-2 to O'Brien. And he taps one back to Swarzak. And the people are happy. Side retired. We go to the bottom of the 9th on David Wright's night. Mets look for a walk-off. No score. Line score brought to you by your Tri-State Volkswagen dealers. No score as we go to the bottom of the 9th. And Drew Steckenrider will make his 71st appearance of the year for Miami.
There are his numbers. He kind of stepped into the closer role when Barraclough went into a funk.
Jay Bruce leads off and takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Jay's 0 for 3 tonight. 2 strikeouts and a fly ball. Jack Reinheimer on deck, and then Austin Jackson for the Mets in the 9th. And Bruce takes one in tight. 2-0. Jay has never hit a walk-off home run as a Met. Now would be a good time to hit his first.
2-0 count.
Goes after the cutter, and it's 2-1. Bruce has 5 walk-off home runs in his career. The last one came in 2013 with the Reds. Only problem for the Mets in this walk-off situation, no Wilmer Flores.
That's true.
The king of the walk-offs, out for the year with some arthritis in his knees. And David has a chance to get nervous all over again. He's going to be speaking to the crowd in a moment. And they're still throwing stuff at him. There's no respect. Off the plate, it's 3-2. Had to ground through stuff at us last night, so we should feel honored.
That's true.
DeGrom and Syndergaard were both pelting us before the game out in center field. Bruce pops one up. Castro coming toward the line and catches it in fair territory for the first out. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jack Reinheimer will bat for the first time. Came in as a pinch runner when Brandon Nimmo pulled a hamstring after his base hit in the 7th. Reinheimer has never hit a major league home run. 5 at bats with Arizona last year, 29 at bats with the Mets this year. The Mets' last walk-off victory came on a home run against the Marlins. That was Todd Frazier on September 13th. Steckenrider. And he throws a fastball by Reinheimer. 1-2. Jerry Blevins is up in the Mets bullpen. Looks like he'll get the call if we go to the 10th. One-two coming, and Reinheimer fouls it off. Nice relief work by Adam Conley for the Marlins. Went an inning and a third, no runs, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. And Reinheimer grounds one through the hole, a base hit. Good 2-strike hitter by Jack Reinheimer. He's got his 5th big league hit. He's got the potential winning run aboard with 1 out.
Well done here. Fastball away.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Austin Jackson, who's 1 for 3 tonight, had a single back in the 2nd. Since then struck out and flied out. Reinheimer pretty good speed at first, but he hasn't stolen a base yet. Jackson goes after a fastball. 0-1. Jackson's last walk-off hit came in 2015 with Seattle. He's got 3 walk-off RBIs in his career. And he slashes one foul, and it's 0-2. Kevin Plawecki is on deck. The pitcher's spot behind him. The Mets still have Dominic Smith in the dugout. Dom is ready to go if needed. Jackson gets jammed and fouls it off. Mets have had base runners in every inning but 1. But they've scattered them tonight. Their best scoring chance came in the 1st inning when Reyes doubled and McNeil sacrificed him. Wright walked, but then Conforto bounced into a 1-6-3 double play, and the Mets returned aside. Now here we are in the 9th. Reinheimer runs and Jackson fouls it off. Reinheimer's had as many as 39 stolen bases in a minor league season, so you know he can run a little bit. By Steckenrider, and Jackson finally asked for time.
I never took my hand off the bat when I wanted timeout. I always just shouted it, and once I heard the umpire call time, then I took my hand off the bat.
And Jackson takes strike 3 call. A cutter right at the top of the strike zone for the 2nd out.
Actually, it's a hanger right here. Starts inside, looking right down the pipe, and he just buckled him.
So 2 out. Reinheimer still at first. It's left to Plawecki. By the way, did we mention Christian Yelich, second home run of the night, putting the Brewers back in front of the Tigers 6-5. They're in the 7th.
That is stuff that MVPs are made of.
Yep. 2 home runs tonight for Yelich, 36 for the year for the former Marlin.
Who's toiling for Washington that's shutting down Colorado?
I think that's Roark tonight, isn't it?
It's 6-1 in the top of the 6th.
That is huge, particularly for the Dodgers. If the Rockies lose, the Rockies and Dodgers would be tied for the West lead going into the final day. That's Strasburg. Runner goes. It's hit toward right center field. Slicing away from Brinson. Sliding is Galloway, and he makes the catch. It was working its way away from Brinson, but Galloway also has good speed, and he got over in the gap and made the sliding catch to Rob Plawecki and maybe saved the game. Reinheimer was on the run, might well have scored if that ball had dropped, but Galloway makes the terrific play to send this game to extra innings. No score. We go to the 10th inning at Citi Field. David Wright's speech. We'll have to wait for a little bit.
And hello, Jerry. Jerry Blevins enters. 63rd game, kind of turned his season around. There's the apple, Gare.
Looking really good on a Saturday night.
And I ain't got no money.
David Wright night in New York by proclamation of the mayor, and the night will go on a little longer. Lewis Brinson is 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Blevins the 5th Met pitcher of the night. And a call strike to Brinson, 0-1. One for Blevins, and Brinson hits the curveball on the ground to Rosario. It comes up nicely for him, and he throws out the speedy Brinson, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on, and now Chris Bostic will be the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher. See Bostic's numbers, hitting .214 in his brief trial with Miami. Marlins have 4 hits. The Mets have 8. No score in the 10th. Coming up on Pix 11, it's the Pix 11 News, and on SNY, it's WB Mason Post Game Live. Wants to rehash from a memorable night at Citi Field. Would be even more memorable if we end up playing 18 innings or so, Keith.
Yeah.
I harken back to the final weekend of the 1965 season. Mets played the Phillies the final weekend. Saturday was a doubleheader. The second game of the doubleheader went 18 innings in a scoreless tie. And in those days, if you played a scoreless tie, or any tie, you had to start from scratch. So they played the doubleheader Saturday with the 18-inning scoreless tie, and then they had to play another doubleheader on Sunday, the final day of the season. And as you know, that's popped up foul, first base side. Bruce comes over to get it, and then retires Bostic. So now each team has caught a foul pop up by the first baseman. So maybe they can lay off O'Brien now, 2 out. If you recall, back in those days, the Mets only had 3 broadcasters to do both radio and television. But on Saturdays in the fall, Lindsey Nelson went off to do Notre Dame game.
Yes.
So that Saturday doubleheader with the 18-inning scoreless tie, it was only Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner one on radio, one on TV, and they'd switch off every few innings.
And I'm sure they did it admirably.
Oh, of course they did, with great enthusiasm. If I recall correctly, I think in that scoreless tie, Rob Gardner might have thrown 15 innings for the Mets. Galloway's 1 for 3 tonight. So, you know, it's not a doubleheader today, although, you know, it's felt like an extra day because of the David Wright involvement. So, you know, settle in. Might take a while. Off the plate, 3-0 to Galloway. By the way, this is fascinating. The Marlins are having a terrible season, right? They're 63-96, but in extra inning games this year, the Marlins are 9-5. So something they have excelled at this year. 3-1 to Galloway. The Mets are 8-9 in extra innings. More indicative of their overall mark. One from Blevins, and Galloway takes ball 4. So a 2-out base runner for the Marlins.
I mean, you've been around, well, you know, in the booth. I never paid attention to how many extra inning games we played. What would you consider a normal amount of extra inning games that you would think that weren't too much for a team?
It's a really good question. I would say 15.
Really?
Is probably about normal.
Because I never paid it. I never counted. You know, we just went out there and played them.
Some years it seems as though you play tons of extra inning games, and some years it seems like you play hardly any. It's so quirky. Here's Brian Holiday, who's 0 for 3. All I know is that you tend to remember the really long ones. And the Mets and Marlins over the last number of years have played some really long ones. They had a 20-inning game and an 18-inning game. I was correct in my memory. Rob Gardner went 15 for the Mets. Chris Short went 15 innings for the Phillies.
And starting,
tie.
Probably starting that game.
Right.
Chris Short was the starter.
Well, you wouldn't pitch 15 innings in relief.
Well,
remember hard to do.
Was it 26 or 25 innings we played in '74 here? The Cardinals.
25.
25. Claude Osteen came in and went 9, I think, in 2/3 or 9 1/3, 3-hit shutout ball for the Cardinals, for us in that game.
I believe Harry Parker went 8 or 9 innings in relief for the Mets that night.
And there was someone else that went long that the name is unfamiliar to me that held the fort.
For the Mets?
For the Mets.
Jerry Cram, was he in that game?
I don't know. Almost I know I could have ended it. Dave Schneck robbed me of a home run off of Harry Parker.
Dave Schneck. Holiday fouls one back.
That is the third one that is hit up on our level, just to our right, probably where Howie's booth is. That's the third one. It's very rare.
Well, we still haven't had a ball in our booth. 10 years in this ballpark. It's almost physically impossible. Maybe on a bounce. We can get one on a bounce off like Al's camera.
Or off Al's dome.
No, I don't want him to suffer any pain.
You can't hurt that head.
Takes a fastball outside, 2-1. Did you see what happened in the Yankee Red Sox game today with the fan in the green monster seats throwing the ball back and hitting Stanton as he ran the bases? Best throw from the stand since Henry Rowan-Gardner. Remember that movie, Rookie of the Year?
I did not see that.
Off the plate, kid develops like a bionic arm, and they put him in the big leagues.
And he's a star.
Yeah, he throws the ball like 200 miles an hour. Gary Busey plays the pitching coach.
Oh, wow. Crazy pitching coach.
Holiday yanks one foul when it's 3-2. Steven Matz went 6, allowed no runs and 3 hits. Tyler Batchelor, Drew Smith, Anthony Swarzak have each contributed a scoreless inning. And now Blevins trying to finish off the top of the 10th. Al Barraclaw up again in the Marlins bullpen. He's been up several times tonight. 3-2 to Holiday. And he fouls it back in our general direction.
4.
Still well shy of the mark.
4 in our that section below us.
By the way, how about the treat that those folks in this section in front of us got tonight?
Oh wow!
When
yeah.
David came up here.
Yep, they got a double viewing in our booth and in Howie and Josh's booth.
I don't know if they knew that they were going to get that. Galloway gets set to run again, and Holiday pops it up. Bruce waiting for it. Tiptoes into fair territory to make the catch, and that retires the side. We head for the bottom of the 10th. Still no score. Now, one of the indelible moments in David Wright's career came September 18, 2006, when the Mets wrapped up the National League East. First division title for that group, and there was a massive celebration at Shea Stadium that day.
Yes, there was. That was a very good, solid team.
That was the hug for those great teammates then, and this was the hug tonight as David took his exit in his final game. '06 was such a magical year because the Mets had, you know, the young players in Reyes and Wright, and the veterans with Beltran and Delgado and Loduca.
Delgado had a great year.
Jose Valentin, good veteran pitching. Pedro Martinez and El Duque. Al Barraclough will pitch the bottom of the 10th.
There is his numbers. He cannot be happy with that. 1-6 and 4.28 ERA.
Dom Smith pinch hitting and almost got hit in the foot. 2-0. Dom started last night in left field and went 1 for 4. Reyes on deck, then McNeil for the Mets in the 10th. And Dom hits one toward the middle, and that'll sneak through for a base hit. So Dominic Smith with a pinch hit single to start the bottom of the 10th.
No one there. The vacated left side of the infield. It inside outs nicely. That fastball in. There's no one there.
Now, can we stipulate, as Glenn Sherlock puts his arm around Jose Reyes, that we've watched Jose Reyes since 2003, and he does not know how to lay down a sacrifice bunt. He never has.
Nope.
He's not good at it. So I would hope that Mickey Callaway has seen that enough this year that he will not ask him to try to sacrifice.
Remember, we had the conversation with him in Boston, Mickey, in his office, and he's very much aware that Jose has a phobia to bunting.
Reyes would love to do something a little more spectacular here. With Smith at first and nobody out. Anderson in on the grass at third. And he's squaring the bunt. Drops one down. He gets it done this time. Barraclaw's throw is in time. And Reyes has executed a sacrifice bunt. Good job, Jose.
But he had to do it like it was a drag.
Well, the Mets get the potential winning run to second.
Deadens it right back to the pitcher, but off towards the end of the bat and deadens it nicely.
First sacrifice of the season for Reyes. And now Jeff McNeil will try and get that winning run home. McNeil is 1 for 3 in a sacrifice tonight.
Don't be afraid to do it.
And they're going to stack 3 infielders on the right side against McNeil and leave the shortstop hole open. Wow. They had three infielders on the right side with Dom Smith up, and Smith hit it to the left of second base. and snuck one through, and they've got the same defensive alignment against McNeil.
Off a hitter like O'Neill, if I'm pitching, I would be very intimidated with that whole left side of the infield wide open.
Rounded in with the slider, and it's 1-0. McNeil slashes one foul. He had a good rip at that. 1-1.
He's been dropping that back shoulder a little more lately. He's been under a lot of late. He's lost a little bit of that line drive swing.
No home run necessary here. Just a little roller through the shortstop hole would suffice. Smith at second and 1 out. Ahmed Rosario would be next as the captain looks on. And McNeil hits the breaking ball into the shift. Rojas throws him out for the second out as Smith goes to third. It's a 6-3 put out. And now Ahmed Rosario. Rosario had an opposite field hit his last time up. 1 for 2 since coming in the game and taking David Wright's spot in the batting order. And don't discount the idea that he could lay one down for a hit to try and get the winning run home. Anderson will play even with the bag at third. O'Brien back it off the line at first. And Rosario hits one foul. 0-1. Mets have had 9 hits tonight. Looking for the one that can put this game to bed. Smith dashing down the line from third, and that one knocked down by Holiday on a potential game-ending wild pitch.
Nice block by Holiday on this slide ball. Well done.
Had to go a long way with that push off to get that far out and block it. 1-1 to Rosario. And that's away. 2-1. Michael Conforto is on deck. So if you're Barraclough, you would figure this is the guy you want to go after. 2-1 coming. And that's another one that Holiday has to do well to stop. That was really close to going to the backstop.
Look at that. He had no chance. What a play. What a play.
So Holiday has saved Barraclough's bacon twice. Now it's 3-1 to Rosario. And Ahmed comes up empty, 3-2.
Just came after him with a fastball.
Smith at third and 2 out. No score, bottom of the 10th. And Holiday wants a conversation.
Oh.
Three-2 from Barraclough. And Rosario draws a walk, and that'll get Conforto to the plate.
Well, Conforto been red hot. Hasn't had a good night, that good a night tonight. But a big redeemer would be a nice base hit.
29 RBIs in September. Looking for number 30 to win this game. Michael has an infield hit and 4 at-bats tonight. Smith carrying the winning run at third. Rosario, meaningless run at first. Rosario runs and Conforto takes a little high, ball 1. Rosario takes second on defensive indifference. They're going to credit him with a stolen base, but that's not right. It's a meaningless run. Does take the force away at second. 1-0 to Conforto. And Michael grounds one foul. 1-1. If they were to walk Conforto, that would bring Bruce to the plate. So that's the calculation Don Mattingly is making here. Conforto is 1 for 6 with a home run against Barraclough. Bruce is 3 for 7.
We've seen a lot of this tonight. Pitchers taking a long time from the stretch from the belt.
You can understand it with the runner at first, stolen base situation. Not here.
Dom Smith's got to come down that line hard. Barraclough's bounced a few already.
Anderson playing well off the line of third. And Conforto takes a fastball for a strike. 1-2. Best pitch he sees.
Outside corner, knee high. Oh, right down the old shoot.
So now Conforto's going to operate from behind. One-two coming, and he goes down swinging to end the inning. So Barraclough fights his way out of trouble. The Mets strand 2 in the bottom of the 10th.
And we're back here in the top of the 11th. There's David Wright on his big night here. No one has left the ballpark. Jacob Rame coming on to pitch the 11th for the Mets. A scoreless tie. 30th game.
Do you think David has a speech written? He's got plenty of time to rewrite it as Rafael Ortega leads off in the 11th. Mets have gotten 4 scoreless innings out of the bullpen tonight. Bachelor, Smith, Swarzak, and Blevins each for an inning. And now Rame, who worked last night for a third of an inning, gave up a hit, struck out a batter. Ortega up for the second time, came in a double switch in the 7th, flied out in his only at bat.
He's a very fast runner. You want to keep him off the bases, particularly leading off.
And Rame misses with a splitter, and it's 2-1. Drew Rucinski is now up in the Miami bullpen. So both these managers continue to run through their staffs in this scoreless game. That 15-inning game in San Diego last night, the Padres and the Diamondbacks combined to use 19 pitchers. Not quite at that point yet. There have been 10 pitchers in this game. And strike 3 called. Ortega caught looking for the first out of the 11th.
That game in Colorado still 6-2 now, top of the 7th. Nationals ahead of the Rockies.
If that stays the same, then the National League West will be tied going into the final day.
Milwaukee 1 out, 2 outs away from closing out a 6-5 victory up in against Detroit. That's a big one.
Jeremy Jefferson to try and close it against the Tigers. And if the Brewers win that game, this will be the day that Christian Yelich clinched the MVP.
I would think so.
2 home runs today, including the go-ahead home run.
A batting title and 35 home runs. That's awesome. I hate that term, but that's worthy of the term. I mean, 35 bombs and a batting title.
Why do you hate the word awesome?
It's just everybody uses
well,
it.
You're saying it's overused.
Overused.
How about awe-inspiring?
Okay.
Rojas yanks one foul off the fence in front of the Marlins dugout, scattering his teammates. 2-1. Rojas 1 for 4 tonight after a 4-hit game last night. And he skies one to center. Jackson barely has to move. Now in a step. 2 out. So Ray has retired his first 2 hitters. And now he'll take on Brian Anderson, who's had a rough night, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Steven Matz started for the Mets, 6 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. But of course, what the nearly 44,000 on hand here tonight came to see was David Wright's final big league game, and they were treated to quite an emotional show. David played the first 4 innings, had 2 plate appearances, handled 1 chance in the field, but more importantly, smiled, cried, had every emotion in between. Family, friends, fans, teammates, opponents, everybody paying tribute to David tonight. Nice running toss by Rosario to get Anderson. 1-2-3 go the Marlins in the top of the 11th. This is David Wright earlier today, sharing a hug with his terrific friend, the Mets bullpen catcher Dave Racaniello. Those two have been close friends from the day that David arrived in the major leagues. Drew Rochinski comes on to pitch for the Marlins as we go to the bottom of the 11th. Jay Bruce will greet him. Bruce has gone 0 for 4 tonight, 2 strikeouts, a fly ball, and a pop-up. It'll be Bruce, then Reinheimer and Jackson for the Mets in the bottom of the 11th. On the day their captain set sail, the Mets are looking for a different kind of a hero in the bottom of the 11th. Fouls off the cutter, and it's 0-2. Marlins have gotten 3 1/3 scoreless innings out of their bullpen. Conley, Steckenrider, Barraclough, and now Rochinski. Got a lot of syllables in that bullpen. And Bruce goes down to the splitter for the first out of the bottom of the 11th. 13 strikeouts for Marlin pitchers tonight.
Who's going to break the ice?
That split grip from Rochinski. Now Reinheimer, who had a single to right in his only at bat in the 9th. He goes after a cutter, 0-1. Rochinski, 29 years old. He's kicked around Angels, Twins, finally getting a chance to pitch consistently in the big leagues this year with the Marlins. Austin Jackson on deck. That cutter off the plate, a ball and a strike to Reinheimer. Reinheimer came in the game when Brandon Nimmo appeared to pull a hamstring after rounding first on a base hit in the 7th, seemingly ending Nimmo's season. And it's 2-1 to Reinheimer. Tomorrow, final day of the season. Noah Syndergaard gets the ball for the Mets. Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. 3 o'clock start tomorrow. As as it will be throughout Major League Baseball. Well, the Brewers held on and beat the Tigers 6-5. There's now a flat-footed tie in the NL Central going into the season's final day. Cubs and Brewers with identical 94 and 67 records. Whoever wins that division will have the top seed in the National League and play the wild card winner. Whoever loses that division will play in the wild card game and host it against either the Dodgers or the Rockies. 3-1 coming, and Reinheimer's on with a walk. So Reinheimer, 2 plate appearances, gets aboard both times. And the Mets have a speedy runner aboard with Austin Jackson coming up. The Braves, meanwhile, will hope for home field advantage. Atlanta is trailing their game. They lost their game in Philly 3-0. That will not help them. So they're now 90 and 71. If the Rockies lose, then they will also be 90 and 71, and the Dodgers are also 90 and 71. Problem for the Braves is that the tiebreaker for home field belongs to the Rockies over the Braves and to the Dodgers over the Braves. So the only way Atlanta can get home field now is if they win tomorrow and the Rockies and Dodgers both lose. Well, it looks like we could have 2 tied division races going into the final day. Definitely the National League Central and maybe the National League West. Away to Jackson, and it's 2-0. Jackson's 1 for 4 tonight. So there's the tie in the Central with Milwaukee's win, and the Rockies game still pending. They are down 8-2 now. The Nats just tacked on 2 more runs. It's 8-2 Washington in the 7th. Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, going out to the mound. Wilmer Defoe just singled in a couple of runs, so that game's getting a little out of hand for Colorado.
But it is Colorado.
Yep. So anything's possible. Steven Strasburg started that game for Washington tonight, and now the Rockies are looking at Max Scherzer tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Dodgers and Giants will finish out the season in San Francisco after the Dodgers outscored them today 10-6. But with the Dodgers win today, it guarantees both Colorado and LA will be in the postseason. The Cardinals got knocked out. 2-0 to Jackson, and he grounds one foul. 2-1. Let's see who's going to that Dodger Giant game. That is Walker Buehler, the impressive young right-hander for the Dodgers. And it looks like it's Andrew Suarez going for the Giants. So 2 young pitchers pitching on that final day in San Francisco. Buehler's been really impressive. The Mets have not faced Buehler.
No.
7-5, 2.76 with a whip under 1. Reinheimer at first with 1 out, 2-1 to Jackson. And Jackson pulling off that sinker, and it's 2-2. Mets have Daniel Zamora up in the bullpen. Looks like he'll be coming in if we go to the 12th. Even with right-hand hitters due up for the Marlins in the 12th, if it gets that far. Two coming. Reinheimer runs. The throw by Holiday is a good one, but Reinheimer beats it. His first major league stolen base, and it comes in a big spot in the 11th inning.
Did he get in?
Oh, it's like his oven mitt hit the bag right before the tag, but the Marlins might want to challenge it. It's close, and they are going to challenge.
Yep.
I think he made it, but I thought the
first shot we had was the most revealing.
Land Review brought to you by Land Rover, above and beyond.
You can see the tag. Oh boy,
it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
There, whether his hand was on the bag at that point. You know, the thing about it is that oven mitt extends beyond the actual hand. So if the end of the oven mitt is on the bag, but your actual hand is not, that counts as being safe, right?
Yes, I would think so. They're making
it's
things
like being tagged with a glove, right?
The umpire, that was Mike Muklinski who made the call. He was right on top of it.
He and Mike Winters on the headsets. Back to Chelsea. I don't think they're going to overturn this.
I don't think so either.
Gary Cederstrom and Brian Gorman are the crew chiefs in the replay center in Chelsea. Their first challenge in this series. And it's an important one because it could put the winning run at second base.
There's Freddie Gonzalez there to the right of your screen.
Martin Prado sitting behind the umpires there. Martin had a really nice chat with David Wright before the game today. I think there's a ton of mutual respect there.
I saw that. Here they made their decision. Safe.
He is safe, so they do not overturn the call. So Reinheimer in scoring position with 1 out, a 3-2 count to Jackson. First major league stolen base for Reinheimer. Holliday made a terrific throw, but just not good enough. So now the Mets are a base hit away with Reinheimer at second and 1 out. 3-2 to Jackson with Plawecki on deck. And Jackson takes ball 4. So back-to-back walks from Ruchinski. And now there are 2 aboard. And Plawecki coming up.
Just wonder, Gary. You know, you have the challenge. You got Ruchinski out there. He has to wait in a 3-2 count, and he winds. You know, it upsets the rhythm. And he winds up not even close with the pitch.
Plawecki came close to winning this game in the 9th. With Reinheimer in motion, he drove one to right center, and Isaac Galloway made a really good sliding catch on what could have been a game-ending hit. Now another chance for Plawecki, first and second and 1 out. And he takes a cutter off the plate for ball 1.
Straight up on the infield, a slight shade to right center with Brinson, the center fielder, slightly.
Reinheimer, good speed at second. Jackson, good speed at first. Bouncer. Rojas gets the out at second. The throw to first in time for the double play. Slowly hit ball, and they still turn 2, 6-6-3, and that sends us away to the 12th. Incredibly emotional night with David Wright's final big league game, and still more to come with David set to address the crowd when this game ends. Don't know when that might be as we start the 12th inning with Starlin Castro at the plate. Jacob Rame starting his second inning of relief, and Castro drives one to the gap in right center, and that ball is caught by a diving Conforto. Oh wow, what a play by Conforto for the first out. Michael coming flying across the outfield on a ball that was slicing away from Jackson. He had no chance, but Conforto saves the day.
This has double written all over. A lot of hang time. What a nice play by Michael.
Jacob Rame appreciative of that. So 1 out here is Peter O'Brien, who's been booed lustily ever since catching David Wright's foul pop-up in the 4th inning.
He's 0 for 2 since.
One of those, the fly ball deep to the warning track in left center, and an ugly cut. Ball and a strike. It's a fascinating phenomenon. The vilification of Peter O'Brien. With a fastball for a strike, 1-2. And he lines one in left field, and he gets his revenge with a base hit. You want to boo me? I'll do what I do. First 10 of the night for O'Brien, and just the 4th. We'll make it the 5th all night for Miami.
Going to have a pinch runner.
And so O'Brien will hear just a few more boos as he exits.
Sierra. McNary Sierra.
So Sierra, the pinch runner, with Brinson at the plate. Sierra started last night in right field, went 0 for 5, but he did steal a base along the way. Hold by Ray, and we've seen that half a dozen times tonight.
Well, there's the play by Conforto, and that was double written all over it, and with O'Brien's base hit, could be a 1-0 ball game.
One to Brinson, who's 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. Brinson acquired from Milwaukee in the Christian Yelich trade. As Steve Hurt just pointed out to me, Christian Yelich actually has a chance, if he has a big final day, to win the Triple Crown in the National League, which has not been done since what, 1937?
Joe Medwick, St. Louis Cardinals, last in the National League.
He was 10 points up in the batting race entering tonight, and clearly has that one. He had 2 home runs tonight. That ties Matt Carpenter for the lead, and if you tie for the lead in the category, that counts. Yaz did that in '67. Ty Killebrew for home runs when he won his Triple Crown. And he's only 2 behind Javi Baez now for the RBI lead. Yelich has 109. Baez has 111.
He's got a shot.
I mean, nobody has talked about this, but all of a sudden, with the incredible last week Yelich has had and the 2 home runs tonight, there he is. One to Brinson.
Another timeout.
The last time the Mets were in a game that was scoreless after 11 innings, July 19th, 2015 against the Cardinals. You remember that one, Keith. That was that 18-inning game in St. Louis.
Oh, I do.
The Mets wound up winning.
We found that fan falling asleep in the bleachers.
There goes Sierra, the throw by Plawecki, and he's out. Another terrific throw by Plawecki, the second runner he's gunned down tonight.
Boy, Plawecki's throwing is really.
And I think, was there some argument that the hitter interfered?
Yes, the bat.
If they did.
Either way, he's out.
Well, the runner's out, but if the runner's out and they call interference, then the batter's out too. And the bat certainly hit Plawecki on the leg, and they did call it. But it is simply a caught stealing, 2-4. Brinson then pops it up. Bruce comes in to make the play, and that retires the side. Plawecki's still talking it over with Tim Timmons. Meanwhile, we go to the bottom of the 12th, no score. David Wright came back from 4 months on the sidelines in 2015 in time to play for the Mets late that year and into the postseason, and got a chance to play in his only World Series and hit a home run in Game 3 of that World Series here at Citi Field. Derek Dietrich comes in to play first base for the Marlins. He'll bat in the 6th spot in the batting order. Tyrone Guerrero will hit in the 4th spot as we go to the bottom of the 12th inning.
Guerrero, another guy with a good arm, but he can be a little all over the place. The Mets are hopeful to put a close to this evening.
Devin Mesoraco will pinch hit for New York. Mesoraco batting for the pitcher Rame, who went 2 scoreless innings in relief. And he takes a home run cut, as he generally does. Mets have had production from the 9th hole today. Frazier had a pinch hit single in the 7th. Tom Smith had a pinch hit single in the 10th. Mesoraco looking to get the bottom of the 12th started. And quickly down to the count 0-2.
He doesn't get cheated, that's for sure.
Devin has 3 pinch hit home runs in his career.
His last at bat, wasn't it a pinch hit home run, Gary? Or was last just pinch hit home run, homered a short time ago?
On the outside corner, and Mesoraco's caught looking for the first out in the bottom of the 12th.
Well, you can see Guerrero throws hard.
Reyes is 1 for 4 in a sacrifice tonight. Sacrifice came in the 10th. And he hits one in the air to right center field. Pretty well hit, but back in the gap goes Brinson. Says, I got it. And the right fielder Galloway almost got in his way as Brinson made the catch.
Wow.
Galloway never stopped running. Brinson was waving him away. I don't know what he was doing verbally, but that came awfully close to being a collision.
Oh boy, just a little bit to the 380's a long way.
So 2 out and nobody on, and it's left to Jeff McNeil, who's 1 for 4 in a sacrifice tonight. And that one skips to the backstop. Did he swing? He did not. Ball 1.
Whoa!
2 in a row to the backstop.
That got the mascot.
That doesn't happen very often.
Just a bit high.
So 2-0 to McNeil. Rosario would be next. And now 3-0. So Guerrero completely losing command of the strike zone after getting the first 2 outs. McNeil has 3 home runs in his rookie season. He had 19 in the minors. And there's ball 4. Now a 4-pitch walk to McNeil puts him aboard with 2 out.
Watch the guys behind the plate here. Pay attention.
What exactly are they up in arms about? Those the same people who are booing Peter O'Brien for catching a pop-up. Well, here's Rosario, who didn't start the game, came in when David Wright left. He's hit into a fielder's choice, singled and walked, 1 for 2. He's stolen a base. He's also been caught once. McNeil at first with 2 out. Scoreless game in the 12th. And that's up and in. That's 5 in a row out of the strike zone from Guerrero. And now Holiday is going to run the ball back out to him.
Well, this is what Guerrero's all about. We mentioned he's got a great arm, but he can be all over the place. Hurry up. I just want to hear David talk. Okay.
Now, did she bring the poster with the Sharpie?
That had to be.
To make the poster during the game?
I have no idea. Maybe she's got a poster on the other side.
And she decided to put a message on the back?
Elementary, my dear Watson.
A message in a bottle?
Ah.
There's the original poster.
The purloined letter.
And Guerrero finally gets one in for a strike. 1-1. If Rosario can keep the inning going, Michael Conforto would be next. And that's foul. 1-2. McNeil at first with 2 out. 1-2 coming. And ugly hack and a ball riding in on him. If he hadn't swung, it might have hit him.
I tell you what, he almost swung and hit his hand. That came close. That is an ugly swing.
Talk about an emergency hack. Well, kept his bat alive and his hand intact. And kept him in to swing another time. And he lines one to center, but Brinson comes in to get it. And on we go to the 13th inning.
My goodness.
Mets nothing, Marlins nothing. Captain still waiting to talk.
Go back inside and practice your speech.
It's pretty good, right? Look at that smile. Hasn't changed all that much in the last 30 years.
Oh, look how husky he was back then.
And that's a fully grown up David Wright walking off a big league field for the last time. And the tears started to well up as he began to hug his teammates and take his exit. It was quite the night tonight, and the captain is lying in wait, microphone at the ready to address this crowd once this game comes to an end. But this is a game that doesn't seem to want to go away. The captain's night may last forever. Daniel Zamora on to pitch in the 13th inning. Derek Dietrich just into the game will bat for the first time, and he takes it wide for ball 1. Dietrich, then Isaac Galloway and Brian Holiday for the Marlins in the 13th. Breaking ball almost hit him, and Dietrich is a master at getting hit by pitches. Zamora pitched night before last against the Braves. Faced one batter, struck out Tyler Flowers, then came out. He's mostly been used one batter at a time, but it looks like he's going to get this entire 13th inning. Past Olivia's bedtime. Hi, Keith. We brought markers. So there you go. They were all ready to make impromptu signs. And you know what's going to happen, right? You can't do that with Dietrich because he's just going to stand in there and get hit. That's part of his game. So a leadoff base runner for the Marlins in the 13th. He almost hit him once and he got him the second time.
Okay, let's see how it shakes.
First time since the 5th inning that the Marlins have a leadoff man on. You have to think that Galloway, the rookie, is going to be asked to bunt.
Yeah, hitting 213. You got to get him over.
Brian Holiday is the on-deck batter. And he does square, but takes a slider inside for ball 1. Galloway's 1 for 3 and a walk tonight. Also made a game-saving catch in the 9th inning. By the way, for Dietrich, that's 21 times hit by a pitch this year, 1 behind Brandon Nimmo for the league lead. Galloway swinging away, fouls off the fastball from Zamora, 1-1. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Hyundai. The longer you look, the more there is to like. So Galloway was bunting on the first pitch, swinging on the second. Reyes stays in on the grass at third. And this time he squares, pushes a nice bunt.
Beautiful.
And Zamora with the backhand flip to McNeil. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Dietrich to second. So Galloway spent 11 years in the minor leagues with a major league bunt. And now Brian Holiday with a runner in scoring position. So the last time the Marlins had a runner in scoring position was in the 4th, when Starlin Castro led off with a double and they left him stranded. Now 9 innings later, Dietrich gets to second base. Holiday is 0 for 4 tonight. And he swings and misses at a slider, 0-1. One thing you know about Zamora, you're going to get the slider the vast majority of the time.
You're going to get that big sweeper.
Like Bissell. And that backdoors, but just misses. Tim Timmons must have judged that it went around the plate.
Yeah, broke around.
Marlins are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position tonight. Holiday looking to break through in the 13th. And goes after another slider and misses, 1-2.
Almost stepping or cross throwing, just a slight step towards first. At 3/4 delivery, almost sidearm.
1-2 coming, and he just got a piece of that slider. So the Mets began the night with a left-hand pitcher on the mound who grew up in Stony Brook. And now in the 13th inning, they have a left-hand pitcher on the mound who went to the university at Stony Brook. It's like you've come full circle.
I've come full circle on my magic markers. I at the Gammon. I'm at my purple marker now. That's the end of the line.
Slowly hit. Rosario circles in to get it and throws out the slow-footed Holiday for the second out as Dietrich goes to third.
Well, there's the release point, and that is not 3/4, and it's not sidearm. It's like
5/8.
It's in between. You can see he gets a little that downward tilt that gives him that little bit of a. He's able to get the breaking ball to break down a tad instead of being flat.
Now Yadiel Rivera will bat for Rafael Ortega to give them a right-handed bat, trying to get that first run of the game in from third. Dietrich at third with 2 out. Rivera pinch hitting, and the backdoor slider misses for ball 1. Mets have used 7 pitchers tonight, thus Keith running out of highlighters. 6 2/3 scoreless from the bullpen. That slider catches the corner. 1-1. Five-year-old Daniel Zamora, his 16th big league outing. That one outside, 2-1. Miguel Rojas, another right-hand hitter, would be next. Marlins have a lefty, Harleen Garcia, up in the bullpen now. He pitched last night. And that fastball on the corner, so he surprised him that time. Only the second fastball he's thrown in the inning out of his 16 pitches, and it's 2-2. Just about the entire crowd has remained into this 13th inning, anticipating hearing from David Wright after the game. Fireworks after that. It's been an electric night all the way around. 2-2. Struck him out. Plawecki makes the toss to complete the putout, and that retires the side. Strong work by Daniel Zamora after a leadoff base runner. He retires the next 3 hitters. And that sends us to the bottom of the 13th. Still no score. Well, this is down in the Mets Hall of Fame, right outside the Jackie Robinson Rotunda. David Wright's All-Star ring and batting gloves from 2006.
Nice.
Yadier Rivera will make just his 9th career appearance in the outfield. He'll stay in after pinch hitting, and Harleen Garcia, who worked a scoreless inning last night, is back out there for more tonight.
Well, Garcia did a couple starts, put back in the bullpen, big left-hander. Got good stuff. And David waiting anxiously.
Michael Conforto will lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 13th. Michael's 1 for 5 tonight. An infield hit in the 4th. He struck out to end the 8th, struck out to end the 10th. And now leading off in the 13th. And takes first pitch slider down for ball 1. Jay Bruce on deck, then Jack Reinheimer. So 2 left-hand hitters to begin the inning, which is why Garcia's in. Garcia, the 7th Miami pitcher of the night. And Conforto bloops one shallow center. That's going to fall for a base hit. And Conforto's aboard to start the bottom of the 13th. Second hit of the night for Michael. And the Mets get the leadoff man on for the 2nd time in extra innings.
Gets jammed inside a little bit. Just kind of flares it out there.
So now Jay Bruce is 0 for 5 and has struck out 3 times tonight. No hint of a bunt here. Diedrich holding against Conforto at first. Michael stole a base last night. And a slider low away to Bruce, ball 1.
Even though they got the shift on, don't steal. Leave that hole because open for him. You can still pull one in that hole, hit hard.
Actually the night before last that Conforto stole a base. Only his 3rd of the year. He's not a big base stealer. With a lefty on the mound, probably less likely to go. And Bruce cracks one to right field, but Galloway moves over to make the catch. Hard hit ball off the bat of Bruce, but Galloway playing deep got over there easily for the first down. So now Jack Reinheimer, who's had 2 plate appearances tonight after coming in for the injured Brandon Nimmo in the 7th. He singled to right, then walked and stole a base in the 11th. Marlins only have 2 players left on their bench now. The backup catchers Tomas Nido and Jose Lobito. Marlins still have 3 players left on their bench, including their manager tomorrow. Yes, you heard that right. Their manager tomorrow, JT Realmuto. Don Mattingly is going to give him the lineup card tomorrow. And changeup misses to Reinheimer, 2-0. Reinheimer's put in some quality at bats since coming in this game. Austin Jackson on deck. And checking on Conforto. Off the end of the bat, foul, 2-1. Jack Reinheimer with just a handful of big league at bats under his belt, but looking for his first ever major league run batted in. He's already picked up his first big league stolen base tonight. Conforto at first with 1 out.
Oh,
and that one sails away on a changeup from Garcia, and it's 3-1. Javi Guerra is up in the Miami bullpen, a right-hander, with Jackson and Plawecki right-hand hitters coming up. Now it's 3-1 to Jack Reinheimer. And he walked him. Reinheimer on base for the 3rd straight time. So the rookie doing quite a job off the bench tonight. That pushes the potential winning run to second. And a chance for Austin Jackson. Don Mattingly coming out. He's got the right-hander ready in the bullpen. And he is going to make the pitching change. So Garcia out, Guerra coming in. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. On David Wright night, by proclamation of the mayor, the night continues. Mets are trying to end it in the bottom of the 13th as the veteran right-hander Javi Guerra comes in.
32nd game for Guerra. That ERA doesn't look too hot. More hits and innings pitched.
Austin Jackson with the potential winning run standing on second base. We'll try and get the big hit that the Mets have lacked all night. Mets are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Mets have already left 12 runners on base. They've got 2 aboard with 1 out in the bottom of the 13th. And Jackson lines one left center field. That's down for a base hit, and the Mets win the ball game. On David Wright night, Austin Jackson delivers the game-winning hit, and the Mets have a 1-0 13-inning win. Captain gets to celebrate with his teammates on his final night on the field as a big leaguer, and the veteran Austin Jackson delivers the game-winning hit.
First pitch, hanging breaking ball. Was it worth the wait?
First major league win for Daniel Zamora, courtesy of Austin Jackson.
Hanging slider, Jackson on it in the gap. Ball game over.
Conforto home with the winning run. Jackson the hero tonight. And now the celebration can continue for the captain on his big night. Game summary brought to you by your Tri-State Audi dealer. David Wright, 2 plate appearances, handled 1 ball in the field, but more important, brought chills and brought tears to everybody on hand. And a long night of baseball ends on the big hit by Jackson in the 13th inning. Zamora gets his first major league win.
Close your eyes. And in an instant, you are at that place where your dreams began.
Mets select David A. Wright, third baseman, Hickory High School, Virginia.
Time and again, you throw that ball into the air as high as you can. You know that feeling when the ball impossibly finds its way back to your glove. And that sensation, that love, it's the exact same feeling your first time as it is every other.
There's David Wright's first big league hit. How about every Met fan knows about David Wright, and he just got to the big leagues.
You still remember that joy.
David Wright with his first major league home run.
Perfect combination of shock and glee.
And a running one-hand bare-hand grab. What a play by David Wright.
That's when you realized your dreams live right here.
Swing and a fly ball, well hit center field. Can't get it, and the Mets win it. Base hit to win the game. Oh, it's out of here. The Mets win the ball game. Here's David Wright, and goodbye home run.
Not only a great player, but a great person.
It's the game you love. That love came right back to you.
And the New York Mets will advance to the National League Championship Series. David Wright reaches the 30-30 plateau.
You captured the city.
Out of here! New Apple, say hello to Citi Field.
And became our leader. And our captain.
What a comeback! And David Wright is the hero.
And oh yeah, you were Captain America too.
International salami for David Wright. David Wright becomes the Mets' all-time leader in runs batted in. David Wright is now the Mets' all-time hits leader.
You showed us passion, hard work,
Wright going out, and Wright makes a brilliant catch.
and determination from the first time and every other time after that. And boy, are we lucky to have been there to see it.
Holy smokes! The captain is back! Unbelievable! The Mets win the pennant!
Can't be more excited for this fan base. They deserve this. I'm glad we're able to deliver.
Even on the biggest stage.
The wall and the captain's gone deep. David Wright has hit his first World Series home run. David Wright, the walk-off hero. What a play!
The fans were awesome. They brought the energy.
For all you've done. For all you're doing. For being one of us. Here's to you, Captain.
New York Mets, number 5, David Wright.
I said it when I was a younger player, and I'll say it again. I truly bleed orange and blue.
What a wonderfully produced tribute to the Mets' 4th ever captain, who played his final big league game tonight. And now David Wright, who's been taking in that video along with us, will address the crowd at Citi Field.
Man, I'm glad we won that one. This is amazing. I can't thank you guys enough for sticking around. You know, I was thinking about what to say today, and I think I'm all out of tears, so I think we're good to go with that. But This is love. I mean, I can't say it anything else. This is love. You guys welcomed me with open arms as a 21-year-old kid. You've seen a lot of strikeouts, a lot of errors, but you had my back from day one. And for that, I can't say thank you enough. When I first got called up, all the older players told me that there's passionate fans here. You know, they like to boo. They like to get on you. Well, you guys have had my back, and you guys have welcomed me. A 21-year-old kid from Virginia, welcomed as a New Yorker. Coming into today, I didn't know what to expect. I walked through the doors. There were fans here when I arrived this afternoon. There's a lot of fans still here now, and I love you guys. I love you. We've had some pretty good times here. We've had some rough years, but you guys have always had my back. You've always had my back, and that means the world to me. I wish I could thank everybody individually, but the best I could do is just say thank you from the bottom of my heart for accepting me. Thank you for cheering for me, and thank you for allowing me to live out my dream in front of you guys each and every single night. Thank you very much. You're gonna make me cry again. I love you guys. Have a good night.